Welcome to the Dirt Life Show with your host, George Hamill.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 146 of the Dirt Life Show. Tonight we got a rad show for you guys. Man, we're going to talk about everything the California 300. Inaugural event just passed this past week. There's tons of people out there. It's rad. We're going to talk to a whole bunch of people. Let me go down the list right here. We're going to talk to Jackson Mandel, youth racer, Gray Kelly, youth racer. We're going to talk with Brandon Sims. Got second in the, it's called the PR class, the Pro R class. Mitch Guthrie won that. Skylar Howell's co-driver is going to come on. Sierra Romo is going to come on. Randy Romo just shredded everybody in the short course race. Chris Meyer is going to come on from Maxxis Tires, talk about his fun weekend. That was a cool project. Later, James. And Ethan Ebert's going to come on from Team Honda Off-Road as well. Talk about how all that went down. Ryan Edwards is going to call in a little bit later. What's up, man? X3, how are you? Man, takeover already? Let's see here. Ryan Edwards, like I said, man, he had a good time out there as well. Caden MacCachren won his first ever Unlimited Trophy Truck race, so that's pretty rad. Justin Lambert's going to call in. I think they were second across the line or first across the line in the Pro Turbo class with Max Eddy as a co-driver, so we'll ask him about that. I know there were some adjustments and stuff like that at the end. And Bella and Cruz Burchard are going to call in as well. Bella and Cruz had a very eventful weekend, but the cool part about it is they're both safe now. Got a couple battered and bruised, I guess you could say. But they are going to call in, talk to us about safety, talk to us about their weekend, and hopefully shed some light on how we can all be better off-road racers. And then finally, we're going to talk with Matt Martelli, the owner and founder of the California 300, the Mint 400, Mad Media. He's going to tell us how the weekend went. So X-Travel, what's up, James? 300 was an awesome race. It really was. Great to hear the race recap. So, all right, we're going to start getting people coming on here in just a little bit. But before we do, I want to thank all of our sponsors for being part of the show. We have a ton of good sponsors, man. You can always follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and hang out with us on Monday nights. Please share the show with all your friends, man. We really want to blow this thing up. So if you're listening to it on a podcast at a later date, please share the show, tell everybody about it, and hit us in the DMs anytime you want. Thank you to the guys over at KMC Wheels for always being a part of the show. Boom, with that red hat. And then thank you to the guys over at Maxxis Tires for helping all the racers, man. They've been doing such a great job. They had such a busy weekend, Chris Meyer and everybody, Jeremy McGrath, Rowan McGrath, Wes Miller, a whole bunch of Maxxis guys. Thank you guys over at Zolander Racing Products. They're doing a fabulous job. You can use the code let's see here, The Dirt Life. Buy some tie rods, radius rods, all that good stuff. Thank you guys over at Motul. Looks like they were doing an oil change right there on one of these cars at IMG Motorsports, because that's where we're at today. So thank you to James and John for letting us hang out here. Thank you guys over at Shock Therapy. Use the code DIRTLIFE. Save on limit straps, steering racks, BSD kits. You can get the ride improvement system, all that good stuff. Thanks to the guys over at JL Audio. Thanks to the guys at Evolution Power Sports. Thank you to the guys over at Vision Canopy, and thank you guys at Cryo Heat. All right, so we're going to start, let's see here. Who's our first guest today? It looks like we're going to talk with Jackson Mandel here. James and John are the best people ever. Yeah, dude, so awesome. So a couple of things that I wanted to hit on first of all was how rad it is to be back racing desert in Southern California. I mean, dude, it was super cool to see. And the nostalgia and everything that was going on behind it. Looks like Jackson's requesting to join. So we'll get Jackson in here. We'll start talking with him. See how his weekend went. But yeah, it was super cool to be back out in Southern California. Super rough track. Jackson Mandel, what's up, buddy?
What's up?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. Let me see if we could turn your volume up a little bit here so we could hear you really good. There you go. Man, how was your races, dude? What? Actually, start off by this. Give us your full name and tell us what class you race.
My name's Jackson Mandel, and I race the Youth 170 center seat.
Center seat? What does that mean?
So it's where some cars sit on the left side and some cars sit in the middle.
And you like sitting in the middle better?
Yeah.
Dude, like the RS1, that thing's so cool, man, because it's like feels way more like moto when you're sitting in the middle, huh?
Yeah.
So you raced which class did you say? 170?
170 Youth Open.
And man, I saw you doing that dance at the end. Should we show everybody?
Sure.
But that was pretty cool. So let's go through your race. Let's see here. Hold on a second. I can't have my chain out now. Yeah, what kind of chain is that, dude? You just flexing on everybody or what? I'm actually asking you, Jackson. What kind of chain is that?
Wait, what? Chain? Oh.
You're just out here flexing on people or what?
No.
We already got a comment talking about your chain, dude.
It was my dad's when he was in high school.
That thing's pretty cool, man. I remember wearing one of those in high school too, so that's rad. So give us a little bit of a breakdown on how your race went, and then, well, actually, you know what? Let's show this first. Check that out. That was pretty rad when you got that first place, right?
Yeah.
Dude, look at that dance. Did you practice your dance moves or what?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, every night.
Are you serious?
Getting ready. Yeah.
Are you a big dance guy or what?
Not really, but I was just like, I told my mom, I'm like, if I win, this is the dance I'm going to do on my roof.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool. What did your mom say? She's like, go for it.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty rad. So I actually got a couple comments that came in. The next guest that's going to come on, you know who Gray Kelly is?
Yeah.
She said she was pretty hyped on your dance, dude. Maybe that's what you should do. You should start charging people at the races to learn how to dance, and you could teach them how to do podium dances.
Yeah.
All right, give us a little bit of a rundown of how your race went, buddy.
Oh, it was good. Off the start, those 2 jumps and a lot of people, I didn't know if I should hit the first jumps or not, so I just kind of, was seeing on the sight lap what I should do, so I kind of rolled it the first lap, and then I think on the first lap I was in 4th, and then by second lap I got into 3rd. Then it stayed 3rd for a few laps, and it just switched up by people. I was in 2nd at one point, and then took a wrong turn on the outside, and then got past. Then it was maybe 8th lap, something around there, and got around 1st and 2nd. So then after that, clean air and just pushed hard.
Yeah, it seems like there was a lot of details in the race that were pretty rad. I don't know exactly because I didn't get to pre-run your guys' little 170 course, but it seemed like there was a lot of rocks. It was pretty rough and I don't know, upsetting the car the whole time. So how did you deal with that kind of stuff when you went out there? Did you get time to practice, or did you just go out there and go, full throttle the whole time?
We did this tight lap, and then that was it, and then just full throttle.
Is it pretty easy to adjust that quickly when you're out there racing against all those other fast kids?
Some tracks it is, and sometimes it's not. Because, this track, it was a lot of straightaways and, turns and got really rough quick. So the first lap, it was really simple to understand the track. And then once it got more down, it was getting a little rougher, and you had to take different lines to get around the rough spots, so you can have more of a faster line.
Yeah, so you can keep your momentum and stay smooth. So I was actually talking to Jim Beaver when we were opening up the show out there and talking about what was going to be one of the biggest factors. And you already mentioned it. It might be a theme throughout the whole show tonight, was that when we went out pre-running on the course was awesome. Like, it was cool. There was rocks. I mean, it was the desert, right? But we noticed that a lot of horsepower helped a lot because the track started getting grooves and soft sand, and you really needed to bite and get out of those corners. So I could only imagine what you guys felt on that Saturday, because they had raced on Friday too. So I was thinking that the more horsepower, the better. But you're kind of saying the same thing, but you're also saying that you guys had to be real choosy on the lines that you picked to keep up your momentum. Was it easy for you to navigate that when you, because you're used to racing short course, so you always have that idea of momentum, right? So was it easy for you to adjust and get all through that in the race?
Well, it's took me a few years to get to that point, but for this race, now that I'm like older and I've been racing for a little bit longer, it's gotten easy.
Yeah, that's cool. How old are you now?
10, and
Man.
I started racing. Technically, so when I was 3, I raced quads, but when I was 4, I got into razors. So I've been racing for about 6 or 7 years.
Did you ever do two-wheel racing or no?
No.
Dirt bikes or anything? Dude, big four-wheel guy right here. That's cool, man. And the razors, it sounds like it's like pretty much where it's at for you now. You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sweet, man. I've seen you race a bunch, and obviously you're a fast kid. You came home with a victory and a victory dance. That was pretty rad, dude. What was your favorite part about the whole race?
Probably, one thing that always gets me excited is making a pass and, making the pass. And one thing that I liked about that track was the 2 jumps, because my shocks were doing good off those.
Should we just call you Jackson the Big Sender Mandel?
Sure.
That could be your new nickname. How far could you go off those big jumps? When we took the Pro R out there on our sight lap or on the pre-run lap, we didn't get very far because it was pretty big, and you didn't want to bottom out the back suspension. So I can only imagine you going through there.
Yeah, for us, I came up full throttle every run. So I'd say I got maybe somewhere around 5 feet.
Dang, dude, sending it off that. That's got to be fully pinned in a 170.
Yeah.
Dude, that's rad. Caden Danbury just said you were the only one that sent the second jump in a mod car. That's pretty sick, dude. Yeah, Caden said you went huge. It was pretty cool to see all the kids having fun out there. Did you have some pretty good battles?
Yeah, in the stock race, but in the mod race it didn't go as planned.
Oh, man, what happened?
Well, I got passed, and I was making a pass back, and I got turned into and got sideways and started rolling. I rolled over and broke my brakes, so it wouldn't go.
Yeah, that's a bummer, though, but that's off-road racing. Hey, so we only have about 30 seconds left. So I was going to say, is your mom behind the camera? Maybe she can pan back a little bit, and we can see your car while you thank all your sponsors real quick, because we're going to get Gray on.
Okay.
So let's thank all your sponsors real quick on the side of your car so you can make them happy for winning that badass race.
Polaris Razor, ORW, GSP, SDPC powder coating, Hawk 9, J-Mark Convo, Gates belts, HMF, anti-gravity batteries, rugged radios, sprocket specialist, Havoc, pepper tuning, DWT, and GBC tires.
Yeah, man. Well, you did a very good job, and you did an awesome job in this interview, too. Code St. Peter just said good job as well. The guys over at Dirt Rider Design said you got a sick wrap. So we're going to get Greg Kelly on here. Is there anything else that you want to say or tell the audience before you bail out?
pretty fun racing up there, and I'm excited I won.
Yeah, you should be excited, dude. You did a really, really good job. The only other thing that I would suggest is that you thank your parents and your family and everybody that helped out in the crew. So go ahead and do that.
My mom, my dad, my brother for cheering me on, and Sarah Danbury for taking all the videos and helping out.
Yeah,
And
that was pretty cool, man. You got a lot of attention on social media. So keep up the good job on social media. And, man, you're doing a really good job out there in the car. Like, I'm pretty jealous to see all the skills that you already have at such a young age, being 10 years old and that fast, man. Even the guys at Car One Fabrication, you're a bad little dude, man. So keep it going.
thank you.
No problem, dude. Okay, we're going to get Gray Kelly on, dude. Well, wait, actually, when's your next race before we get her on?
It's in Laughlin at the Best in the Desert this weekend.
Dude, you're racing this weekend too? I'll be there. I'll see you there, man. So make sure you come say hi. Give me a high five, all right, homie?
All right.
We'll see you later, dude. Great job.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, we're going to get Gray Kelly on here and see how her race went as well. Man, it's so cool to talk with the kids. Like, we always talk about it, the future of our sport, right? So we'll get Gray Kelly on as well. What's up, Gray? How are you?
Good.
So Jax is just logging off right now. I think Mom's probably looking for the X button. You can just click on the screen and then hit the X after you're done, Jen. So,
Okay.
Gray, how was your race weekend?
It was great.
Did you guys do pretty good?
Yeah.
How did you
I
do?
got an
Give us a little bit of a description on how your weekend went.
So basically at the starting line, we went on a side lap. I had to learn the track. It was so dusty that like I would get so lost because of all the dust.
It was pretty dusty, man. And
Yeah.
even in the 170 class, like actually do that real quick. Tell us what class you raced and how old you are.
I am 8 and I raced the Youth 170 Open.
Yeah, and I saw you, man. We saw a bunch of videos of you just shredding. I think I can probably pull one up on my phone here and show everybody. What was your favorite part of the race?
Like all the jumps, the turns, like everything.
It was actually pretty cool, right? Like, how was your guys' track? Was it pretty easy to navigate or no?
Yeah, it was really easy.
And
It's
you
just
liked
like
it?
Yeah, it was great.
Did you make some cool passes or battle with your friends out there?
I mean, I couldn't catch up, but I tried to.
So it's really, I know that the 170 class is really competitive and it's hard because those cars don't have that much power. But like Jackson just said, was it like bogging you down going in some of those sandy corners and the ruts and stuff?
Yeah, I think I would hit the brake too hard and it would really slow me down.
So what's the move then? Is the best move to just keep it wide open and just try to hold the steering wheel through the ruts?
Yeah, I would say like just like go in really hard, just and then like brake like the tiniest bit, and then like just floor out.
That's pretty cool. We just talked to Jackson about being a big sender. Were you trying to do the same thing?
Sorta. I didn't want to flat bottom it, but like I was trying to send it a little bit, but I didn't want to hurt myself.
I don't know if anybody else is getting the same vibe, and they can mention it in the comments, but I really like the way you talk because you're like fully into the racing vibe, man. It's cool.
Thank you so much.
No problem. I think you're well, and you looks like you got dressed up and everything for the interview. What a good thing to do for all your sponsors and for your family and stuff to make sure that they appreciate it. So keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's get back to the racing then. Do you have like a lot of desert racing experience underneath your belt, or was this the first one?
No, I raced this one, and then I raced Best in the Desert, but behind that, but when I was driving my car since I was like 5 at Dumont.
Oh, so you got a little bit of experience then. You're basically a veteran. You got 3 years now. Brooke Demon said you're a little rock star. Hey, so you know what I heard? Bella Burchard said that you're rad, but you know what I heard? I heard that you were driving like there was a cougar in your car.
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie?
Talladega Nights by Ricky Bobby.
So when you were going through some of the dust, was it hard to see? Like maybe kind of like you had a Fig Newton sticker on your car?
Yeah.
That's what I said too. It's so funny because the dirt gets so like clogged up on your visor. It's like you can't see, like you have a sticker on your car.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. And then so I told Jackson that we heard that you liked his dance on the podium.
Yeah.
Does that mean you're going to start doing dancing too on the podium?
Baby.
What's up, Jacob Zacone? Taylor, the coolest girl I know. Yeah, you know what? She is really cool because she earned one of the limited Dirt Life hats, which most people don't have. So good job for Gray to doing that. And then, yeah, so the only other question that I was pretty much going to ask you, and then we'll get you to tell us about your sponsors and stuff too, was who some of your favorite drivers are. And I think you might have even got to be able to meet some of them this weekend.
Jacob Williamson, Nixon Nagel, Jackson Mandel, Jameson Mandel, Brooklyn Demon, and Sierra Romo.
Yeah, so didn't you? Well, you already know Brooklyn, but you got to meet, I think, Sierra, and you also got to meet Bella Burchard too, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool because they're professional drivers, and Sierra's going to come on the show a little bit later today. She's going to come and talk about stuff too, so it's pretty cool that you get to hang out with all those people and see them at the races.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Did you get to check out some of their cars? Like Sierra has that new Pro R car, Bella had that awesome car.
When I go over to JMO's, I get to walk right past her car.
Oh, well, there she goes. Sierra Romo just commented in with a bunch of hearts. That's cool, man. So you're already making waves in the off-road industry. So when you go and like talk to them and idolize, because I still have my idols. Like I got to talk to Jeremy McGrath this weekend. It was so cool, him and Rowan. And so when you get to see Sierra Romo and stuff, how does it make you feel? Does it give you like excitement? And you're like, man, one of these days I can be like her if I put in a lot of hard work.
Yeah, I'm like really excited, but half like nervous at the same time.
Does it give you motivation to like do better at racing? So when you can be the best you can when you grow up?
Yeah.
What are some of the goals that you have in racing?
Be better than yesterday, like.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Hey, so you want to know a secret that I know that will help you in racing? And it's really easy.
What?
So if you ever have a goal, if you take a piece of paper and a pencil and you write down that goal, it's much more likely to happen than if you just think about it or put it in your phone. If you actually write it down with your fingers, it makes it so it's much more likely to happen. So maybe what you do is you ask your mom if she can, give you an extra piece of paper and a pencil and you can keep it in your room. And once a month or once a week, you can write down your goals and see how much closer you're getting to each individual goal. It's pretty cool and it's so easy, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can just take a piece of paper and pencil.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. So pro tip, paper and pencil. But it does actually make a difference. And I'm really proud of you. You've been doing so much racing. We've seen you a lot. What's the next race that you have?
Best in the Desert at Laughlin.
No way. Dude, everybody's going to this race. I'm going to see you this weekend too, again?
Yay.
Man, great. I see you more than some of my best friends. It's pretty awesome to see you at the races, and like I said, I'm proud of you. One thing that I did want to tell you was thank you very much for the Gray Kelly Racing hat. Like, that's one of my favorite designs that you have on there, with the checkered flag and the red and yellow. You got a really cool vibe going.
Thank you so much.
All right, so we got 30 seconds. We're going to do the same thing that we did for Jackson. Do you have people that you want to thank?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Mom and Dad, grandparents, Hannah Heavy Hall, Dirt Rider Designs, PCI, Elka, Car One, and PEP Tuning.
Yeah, that's some good sponsors. Let me give you another pro tip, all right? So let's make sure that we thank the race promoters like Mad Media, Matt Martelli, and the California 300, because if we didn't have them, we wouldn't be able to actually go out there and race. And it took them a long time to be able to get that track ready and prepped for us and get it going. So let's thank them. And then let's also thank Brooke for being such a good person and helping us set all this up for you.
Yeah, they're such nice people.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Okay, well, we will see you this weekend at the, actually, what class are you racing this weekend?
The 170 Open.
The same one?
Yeah.
What are you going to do better this weekend?
Try and pin it all the way, like throughout everything.
Just as hard as you can. Push that gas pedal through the floorboard.
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. Get your leg nice and strong this week so we can see you shredding at the races, all right?
Okay.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for coming on the Dirt Life Show. I hope you had a good time, and we'll see you this weekend.
See you this weekend.
Bye, Gray.
Bye.
All right, so now we're going to get Brandon Sims and Sky Howe on here, and then we'll talk a little bit more about some of the big racing. Man, it's so cool to see the kids and all the stuff that they've been doing. Brandon Sims, what's up? How are you?
How are you? Tired, but I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Hey, before we get into talking about your race, seeing the kids out there and having fun and coming on the show and learning new things, how do you feel about the next generation, man? Because I'm pretty excited about it.
I'll tell you what, it's a lot more exciting than when we were those kids. I mean, we never had that opportunity. We were on three-wheelers and quads, so it's cool to see them in cages like that. And they got a lot of potential coming up. They're all fast, and the competition between all of them is crazy to see. I mean, they're all into battling each other, and they all want to be the fastest. So that's pretty cool to see.
I know. That's exactly what I was thinking, too. Like, I wish that we had the opportunity back then, and now seeing them, like, it's just going to be, 10 years from now, they're all going to be in the professional class. Skylar Howell, what's up, dude? How are you?
What's going on? Good. How are you?
We're doing good. Hey, so we were just talking about the kids, but we're going to fast forward and talk a little bit more about your guys' race. So let's get a little bit of an understanding or lay down some groundwork or framework here. The PR class is a Pro R class. Is that what it is? Or how does it work now with the new 4-cylinder cars? And either one of you guys can answer.
Oh, I don't think either of us know the answer, so that's a great question. It seems like this is our first race in that car, so I mean, this is our first time racing in the PR 100 class, but it seems as though every organization has a different class in which this car is fits in. So, I mean, Best in Desert, I think it's the Unlimited. In the Martelli races, it's the PR 100. In Baja, I think it's also the Unlimited. So I guess it depends on which organization you're racing in. Depends on the class you're in. So I think I want to say the Martelli races is the only one where the PR 100 is in its own class.
Gotcha. Okay. And so do they separate that because of the speed or anything, or because it looked like the Pro Turbo guys were going pretty close to the same speed? And I have a follow-up question for that.
I honestly have no idea what's putting us in different classes. I think it might be the engine size being a 2000 cc. I'll tell you, it's not any faster or quicker than my turbo vehicles were. But everything else about it is pretty revolutionary as far as the suspension goes, the handling characteristics. Obviously, like I said, Skylar and I hadn't had any time in this car before we got to this race, so we didn't really know what to expect. But once we started racing it, we were like, wow, all right, this thing's pretty amazing to see what it could do out there. So
yeah, totally.
I'm not too sure what is separating.
Yeah, and I didn't want to get on a Pro R kick here, but I wanted to at least set a baseline of it because I know that you could have pulled the same speed in your other car, right? And it's a 2-cylinder car. So, Skylar, give us your basic understanding of what the differences are between the two models, because I want to follow it up with something.
I mean, the only difference really is the CCs, and if you talk to any of the guys that even have Pro Rs, they'll tell you. I mean, the Turbo R is faster. They'll just come out and say that right away. I mean, top speed, the Pro R a little fast, but outside of that, I mean, they're pretty identical in horsepower.
Yeah, and so that was my main question was because
it's so much heavier.
And so that was my main question, was basically understanding how it works. So I've never driven like a Pro XP or a Turbo S or Turbo R. I've only driven the Pro R. And when we did the little pre-run, it was really cool to see. And I had mentioned that I thought that one of the main things that was going to separate the vehicles out and the racers out on course was power, because the track was sucking so much power out of the vehicles in some of those corners, some of the washes, and just with the terrain, right? And so I thought the Pro R was going to have a big advantage, but then in qualifying, a Can-Am qualified first. And so it was kind of crazy for me to eat my words, right? But how did it feel during race day?
I mean, I think the biggest thing that's coming down to is the power to weight ratio. These new Pro Rs are obviously heavier than all the other machines out there. I mean, that engine that's in there is heavier. That's got a front and rear differential. It's got a transmission. There's a lot more parts to these cars than all the other units out there. So, I mean, to see the Can-Am go out there and put down the hottest qualifying lap, I mean, I know Bruce has got that thing turned up pretty good. So I knew that he's going to be hard to beat in qualifying any way you look at it. He's super fast at all the qualifiers that we do. So, but having that extra power in that vehicle, he struggles to keep that car together in the races. I mean, I know he's trying to revolutionize that platform and do as much as he can, but at the end of every race, I mean, he's, there's lots of issues he's having to work through. Whereas, I mean, we're running basically a stock vehicle. We're not doing any kind of, adding a ton of power to them or anything. It's just, we're just basing them pretty stock with, the cage. I mean, the axles, the transmission, the differentials, all that stock on these. We're not having to do billet differentials or anything that's really upgraded like all these other companies are having to do for their machines.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I'm sitting at IMG Motorsports. You can see they're building a dune car behind me. But yeah, like I've always been a massive proponent of as stock as possible, right? Like I feel like that's what UTVs are here for. Like is just an entry level class for us to get in the race. Otherwise, we could just build a trophy truck, right? And I still think though that there's advantages to doing stuff like Bruce as well, because he's pushing the envelope and he's building and he's advancing things for the side-by-side market. So there's good and bad, right? All right, so let's break it down and talk a little bit more about the race. Like the preparation was good. You guys built a new car and you started, basically just getting everything ready. But when you showed up to the race, you hadn't really even gotten in that car except for to put it on and off the trailer.
Yeah, that was. Go ahead,
I think I got in the car the first time on race day or on qualifying day.
Yeah,
that was my first time.
He showed up right before qualifying. He had to work, so Thursday morning he drove out with my dad. They left at like 4 a.m. from Prescott, and they got there I think like maybe 30 minutes before the qualifier was, and that was the first time Skylar had ever even been in the car. And then the day before that, I worked with Fox a little bit. I worked with my buddy Vince at Fox. On Wednesday, I think that was the first day that I'd actually been in the car or the car had actually been in the dirt. And honestly, all we did was play with the shocks a little bit on Wednesday. And I put the car away and qualified with it on Thursday. Didn't do anything to it after that. Kind of just checked everything after qualifying. And then Friday was the first day that we actually put it through its paces. There was absolutely zero test time in that vehicle before we went to that race.
It's pretty phenomenal that you guys have that. It says a lot about your guys' prep and the build of the vehicle too, right? Because that makes sure that you're meticulous to be able to make sure that it doesn't have issues. Give us some of your favorite parts of the car so far, or the favorite feels of the car. Because when I was driving, from an enthusiast standpoint, we'll call it, you can reach high speeds very quickly, and it handles good, but in stock form, it's pretty twitchy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess being in it for the first time in an NA vehicle, a naturally aspirated vehicle over the turbo vehicle is nice, coming into corners and having instant throttle response to adjust how the car is going to feel in the corner or make it handle differently, whether you want to slide or drift or come into the corner hot, or, you're able to, if you get it up on the bicycle, you can kind of pull it out really quickly. You're not waiting for that turbo to spool.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest differences I noticed. I like the weight of the car because it seems like it really works good in the big bumps, the big whoops. That's the next biggest thing was the suspension on that Pro R is phenomenal. I mean, we were able to hit the jumps in front of the grandstands there, or in front of the arch there, and we were able to hit that at basically wide open throttle. The big whoops, there were some big whoops out there, and we didn't really have to let off for those. The wheelbase, the suspension travel, everything of that car, kind of just absorbed all the big bumps that were out there. So, the little bumps, the chatter stuff, the mountain ranges, I wasn't a huge fan of that. I could have dealt without that. That was I'm more of a fan of going fast through the desert. I didn't really care for the tight technical stuff. I know there are people out there that like that stuff, but I like going fast through the desert. So it's hard to make, your suspension work really good in the rocks or the embedded rocks and stuff like that this course had, as well as the big bumps. But I mean, the other big advantage I think that we have is we run that live valve technology on this new race car. And I'm constantly playing with the shocks. I'm adjusting them throughout the entire race with the steering wheel adjustment. You've got the X button, and then you got, Baja mode, comfort mode. And I'm constantly playing with that selection throughout the entire race.
Dude, we should give Skylar a red button too, so he could just hit it when he gets all sketched out. Because, dude, I was going through some of those whoops, like, I don't know, by Barstow, Maine, and I wasn't even hitting the brakes. I would just hit the button like a video game, like over every one. So you'd hit it like Ken Roxon style at straight rhythm, just be on top of them. Bam, bam, bam.
Yep, that's one nice thing about that technology. I mean, a lot of people are scared of it, but I've been running it for like 4 years now, and I absolutely love it. Then you couldn't talk me out of not running that live valve technology that we're running on this Fox shocks.
Yeah, also saving Skylar's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we got beat up pretty good on this race. I mean, I was pretty sore.
It was brutal.
Yeah, there's not to say that the vehicle is is going to be smooth across everything, because believe me, at the end of the race, I was pretty beat up. But I think what we're doing is we're pushing these vehicles harder and faster across rougher terrain than we have been before. So I think the suspension is, keeps advancing, but we're actually pushing these vehicles so much harder in places that we never used to push them that hard before.
Yeah.
So we still are feeling it. We're just able to go faster.
I totally agree with that. Sky, you can chime in on this, but so I'll just make a little comment. I was talking with James Hill from IMG today about it, and he kind of agreed. I was talking about a YXZ compared to the Pro R, so it's like apples and oranges, right? But so that's what I was used to driving and going through the desert. Like even at Laughlin, it's gnarly, and that's a graded course basically, right? And then so the difference in speed from the Pro R and the YXZ was probably a good 25 to 30% faster. And then so like to put it in perspective, like even let's just say a stock XP 1000, like the pace that everybody is going now is so much faster than what it used to be, right? And I know you said that like your other car is really fast compared to the Pro R as well, but like still that speed means that you have to do a lot of things. It means that you have to prep the car better. It means that you have to have bigger tires. It means that you have to be more physically fit. It means that you have to have better hydration. There's all of these things that detail and come along with it. So what do you guys usually do during the races to make sure that all that stuff is keeping up with the pace?
And to say one thing, it's just like going from a Razor to a trophy truck.
Yeah.
Whereas their suspension is so much better than ours, but they're going so much faster, so it gets so much rougher. And that's kind of where we're at now, from the turbo class to the Pro R, and just how fast the pace is going, is that it might be a little faster, but it's still as rough, if not rougher, because we're pushing it so hard.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean. So what kind of stuff do you guys do that's different? And then we'll get into talking about the race.
I don't think we do much different. Brandon?
I mean, on this race, I didn't even get a chance to take a sip of water, except for my one pit. It was just absolutely brutal enough where I had my hands on the steering wheel the entire time. So when you're talking about hydration, as much as I wanted to drink out of my Camelback in the car, I was not able to take my hand off the steering wheel long enough to actually reach over there and grab that. So I'm going to think about maybe, advancing to having the squirt system where it squirts it in your mouth from your helmet.
The fluid
that
logic
might be something
stuff.
I'm going to have. Yeah. I don't know what else to do. I mean, the way the Martelli set this race up is, it's cool that you don't have to go through pit road and drop down to 25 mile an hour if you don't want to. Lots of times in the races, whether it be best in desert, score, a lot of time when we go through a pit area or a highway paved section, that's where I hydrate. I drink, whatever fluids, eat some jerky or something. This race, I didn't really have that opportunity.
Dude.
I mean, I pulled into the pits and took my girlfriend handed me a drink of water and tried to hand me some food. And I think I got a tiny bit of food in my stomach. And then we were filling up with fuel, and then we left. So that was my one chance to get any kind of hydration or any kind of food in my stomach.
Dude, that's so gnarly. But you should have just given me a radio for the team, because there was all kinds of people just going straight through the main pit and going 30 miles an hour and cutting off a whole bunch of the race course and still making passes. So you could have just cruised right through there. Like, it was so funny to see that, man, because everybody was doing it. I was like, what the fuck is everybody doing here? Like, full cheat status.
Yeah, come to find out that was the quicker route, but it didn't look as cool. I went it through the outside of pits, and there's some big whoops there, and at least it looks cool going through those big whoops. Yeah. Even if we lost time, it looked cool.
It looked bitchin', and you follow the rules.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all right, so give us a little bit of a rundown for the race, like what position you started in, and you had to chase Mitchie all day.
Yeah, so obviously we qualified third overall, second in class, and Bruce obviously didn't race. So Mitchie was first off the line in his row, and then we were second row, started next to one of the Honda teams actually, and
Yeah, it was
we
Elliott
got him
Watson.
on the start. Yeah, it was Elliott. So yeah, we got him on the start. I think because we have that naturally aspirated power. As soon as I accelerated from the start, we had him, and then I didn't slow down for the lip or the jump or anything, so we were able to kind of put some time on him there. And then from that point on, we didn't really see anything behind us ever approach us. I think on the first lap, maybe around race mile 15, I think we were quite close to Mitchie, within probably a couple hundred yards.
Yep.
I knew Mitchie wasn't going to push really hard on the first lap, but I was going to, because I knew that, they were giving us a 2-minute split. And if I could just run on his dust or run in his lights or at least see his car, that we'd have him on time. So basically, I just, Skylar and I just kind of got on his bumper, a couple hundred yards behind him and kind of paced him. I never got to a position where that we were going to be able to make a pass. I know Mitchie was kind of just pacing us. We were pacing him, and it was a fast pace. There's no doubt. The second lap, I think that's when we started catching lap traffic, which was quite frustrating, which we ran into at the Min as well. I don't know how we're going to fix this issue, but we were catching, class 11 bugs in the first couple miles on the second lap. And it's frustrating because the first part of that course was tight and technical, and a lot of the vehicles couldn't get out of the way quick enough, even though we caught them. If you're in a canyon, they can't get out of the way. So, there's only so much you can do, and I get frustrated quite quickly. Just watching, I was watching Mitchie pull away from us at that point. Lots of times you get an advantage, and he could have got behind somebody that didn't move, and we could have caught him, or vice versa, where he was actually getting in front of people quicker than we were, or having a better spot to pass them, and we were kind of stuck, in traffic.
I agree with that, though, wholeheartedly.
The issue we dealt with.
We can talk to Martelli a little bit about it. He's going to come on the show a little bit later today, too. But I think that's a very good point to bring up. And I was actually talking again to James at IMG about it, that I think a couple small things that could be done for a race like this is to have the land rush starts, because that's bitching. And then to have it so that there's just UTVs on course, because it evens it out a little bit, right? And I don't mean that as a good or bad thing about any of the drivers, any of the vehicles, anything. It just makes a little bit more sense, right? Because it takes some of those situations like what you're talking about out of the equation. You could still get occasionally caught by blocked by another UTV or something, but it's a little different when that happens, right?
Yeah, definitely. Our class, even that PR 100 class, is so fast now. The lap times we were putting down and the times that we were putting down are just, it's a safety thing. When we're getting out there, we're catching the sportsman's class and the other classes. I really did like the 2-minute start gap, because with how dusty it was and there was really no wind when we were racing. It was nice to have the 2-minute gap. That way we could actually have a little bit of clean air, So, it's just tough. I know being a promoter, it's tough to do, to appease everyone. It's not going to be possible. I'm just looking at it from, more of a racer standpoint, because I get frustrated behind people. And the last thing I want to do is wait for them to move out of the way. And I know there's people on the course that are, this may be their first race, and they may not know exactly what to do when they're caught. And for the most part, I didn't have to force move anybody. I didn't have to bump anybody. But there was lots of times where I was getting frustrated enough, and it's just hard. I couldn't imagine trying to be the promoter and trying to make everybody happy. It's going to be impossible. But looking at it from, it's unfortunate.
So Mitch Senior just said land rush is not good.
Dude, I love them because I'm moto guy. So they're
because being a spectator, they're great to watch, but you could wreck a lot of stuff real quick.
Dude, you can. I love them just because I was moto guy, and I think it adds a little bit more to the effect of the racing. But I agree with some people will say it's bad. So not talking about like those types of things anymore. Like you had Mitchie out front. Obviously you're trying to close the gap a little bit, and then you had Sierra Romo, who's going to come on the show in just a little bit, behind you as well. So you guys are turning some really fast lap times, and you can't make any mistakes these days. It's gnarly, Skylar. So how are you guys approaching everything?
Oh, Brandon just was on the gas. There was definitely times where I could tell he was pushing it faster than he's ever pushed it. and it was a brutal course. And Brandon's just a good driver in general, so he's really the only one I trust driving with.
Well, so when you say something like that, like to me, being we'll call it a washed-up racer, but like understanding the skill set that Brandon has, when you say he's pushing it harder than he ever has, give us a little bit of a detail behind that. And I'd like to hear from Brandon too, because that means that you're so in tune with what he's doing behind the wheel, is sitting in the passenger seat or the co-driver's seat, that you're understanding how he's managing the throttle, the brakes, the steering wheel, how he's pushing through bumps and corners. So give us a little bit of detail behind what you mean there.
Yeah, and I think so. A lot of it is just going faster over rougher terrain and pushing it harder through things that might cause more damage to the vehicle or give you a higher risk of breaking something. And normally he's pretty conservative, runs just a clean, fast pace. And this race was just a fast race. And if something happened, it happened. There wasn't enough time in the race in general, because it was such a short race, to run a slow pace. So I know I can just see it when we're going through stuff, when he's coming into corners faster, braking at corners later.
Yeah.
And then really relying on me to call corners and call anything that's ahead of us.
Yeah, I can see that too. And well, just as a fun fact, seeing from the outside, being out, not in the vehicle, obviously, and watching you guys come through the certain sections that we were watching, I have to tell you, Brandon, you were much smoother than 90% of the racers out there. And the way that it looked from the outside was that you guys had better lines, that you had better selection of where you would put the car in the corners, turning in, braking late, and all that stuff. So still kudos to you for driving that smooth. But how did it feel behind the wheel?
Kind of like what I was explaining before, we're hitting stuff bigger, faster, deeper, and pushing it so much harder. So, I mean, I felt way more comfortable behind the wheel of this vehicle than I have been behind any of my other ones. I think the wheelbase really helps. The suspension travel allows a lot of forgiveness. I mean, having that much suspension travel, it makes up for a lot of oh shit moments when you're kind of looking at them and you're like, oh man, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be bad. Like a G out or a bigger whoop than you're expecting.
We didn't bottom once
in this car, just absolutely. Yeah, we didn't bottom out at all, which is crazy. I don't know how, but
that's wild on that rough of a track to even understand that you didn't bottom once is just like, that's mind blowing.
Yeah, thanks, Vince.
What was your guys' favorite part of the race? And then we can thank everybody and get Sierra and all the Romo Motorsports guys on.
I like the second part of the race. I didn't really care for the first half of the course. I like the second part of the course. It was faster, bigger whoops, more lines. I like having the option to pass people other than just following them and forcibly making a move. I like that the second part of the course had options to choose different lines, and it was faster. I like going 90 through the desert. I just do. I don't really care for going 10, 15 miles an hour up through the mountains. That's boring to me.
I was just going to ask that. So in our bone stock Pro R, that the last wash section right before that, you kind of like did that little, like, I don't know, flowy section of 2-track, and then you fell into that last wash. We got up in the bone stock Pro R to 82. So you guys were pushing 90 through there?
Yeah, I think we were doing 93, 94 through there.
Skylar, that is freaking wild, dude. How does it feel going in the passenger seat? Are you just like making sure you call the notes because they're coming up quick?
Yeah, I'm not really looking up at that point. I just look down at the GPS.
That's wild,
he's had to. That's a big thing that Skylar's had to adapt to. Is we're traveling faster. Everything's coming up quicker, so he has to adapt to all that, So there's a big difference having a navigator that can actually recognize the speed that you're traveling and how the corners change. A corner, we do a number system 1 through 5 as our numbering system for cornering, and a 3 at 90 miles an hour is significantly different than a 3 at 40 miles an hour. So, the big difference that Skylar's been able to do is recognize the difference between, the speed that we're traveling and adapting to that and making it work for us. So that's a huge advantage I think we have. We have a good relationship in the vehicle. We don't ever get into many kind of arguments, and If I blow a corner, it's usually my fault. He's called it, and I'm just spaced out, focused on what's in front of me, not not listening to what he's saying. So he's pretty spot on, and we do good as well, or we work well as a team in that vehicle. So, I've got a lot to, kudos for Skyler to be able to do that and to trust me, because I obviously don't want to hurt myself. So he knows that too. So,
Yep.
We didn't really have any moments in this race where we felt out of control. I mean, we had one time where we went through the whoops and I was like, I made a woo or something, probably, but it was fun. We do well in that new car together, and looking forward to doing some more.
Dude, it's so crazy to think. And yeah, man, I think it's so cool to see the progression, no matter what it is. I'm gonna try to see if we can get Sierra and the Romo Motorsports guys on as well. Talk to them about it. Could you hear her back there with hardly any exhaust? I think the muffler fell off of that thing.
No, I never saw her.
F that.
So, yeah.
Could you imagine how blown out your ears would be? Holy cow!
No,
I would have said
my
quit.
ears are still ringing. Yeah.
Yeah, get me out of this thing. Give a shout out to the people that helped.
Yeah, obviously Polaris Razor with that new Pro R platform. I was skeptical at first, and now I wish I would have gotten it finished quicker. That new vehicle is just amazing. So yeah, that was super fun to be a part of, having that Pro R out there. Tensor tire. I mean, we had fantastic luck with that rocky course, method race wheels, shock therapy with the tuning that they do for us, and the accessories that we have from them. I've got some new toe link bars from them on this race vehicle, and they were fantastic. Fox Shocks, Lone Star Racing. So, everybody kind of comes together and makes this program work. And we've got a pretty dialed in. I mean, this is our third race and our third podium in a row. So, and we go to all the big ones. So, I mean, when we're claiming a podium, that's, Baja 500, Baja 500, Vegas, Reno, and now this race. So, the competition's getting so stiff, and it's wild out there. The competition's just insane.
It is. It is pretty insane. We got one of your competitors on, so hey, good job, boys.
Looks like you got about 3 of them on over there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people in there, right? Well, good job, boys. You guys really, kicked ass this weekend. It was awesome to see you guys doing so well. Obviously, in the new car and having so much fun out there too. Keep driving smooth.
Definitely.
Thanks, guys.
See us at the next one.
All right, see you guys. Job. All right, so Romo Motorsports taking up the whole screen. We got Randy Romo, Wes Leffler, and obviously Sierra Romo. Hi, how are you guys?
We're good. How are you?
We're doing awesome. So, Wes, you're probably just going to have to just lean on Sierra's shoulder, kind of like you did all race when your seat broke.
Literally at mile marker 20.
Let's tell everybody the story real quick. So first of all, the course was just gnarly, straight gnarly. Awesome for desert racing being that gnarly. But you guys had a little incident inside the car.
Oh, yeah. There was a few. So we started the race. Everything was good. And then around mile marker 19, he starts bouncing around in his seat. I'm like, what are you doing over there? And he's like, the bolt came out of my seat. The seat's broken. Something's going on. And I'm like, nothing we can do. I'm not going to pull over and fix your seat for you. So he radioed to my dad, let him know that our seat base was broken. And my dad's like, it's all good. Just run it like that. And it is what it is. So we did. And his poor head was hitting our fire extinguisher, because our fire extinguisher is right in the middle of our heads. And he's leaning on me and bouncing off of our fire extinguisher the whole entire race.
Dude, so basically 260 something miles of just bouncing around in the seat. And if anybody has not seen how gnarly it is in Barstow, please go out there and try to bounce around with a loose seatbelt, because it will burn you out in about 10 seconds. And Wes did it for 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. That wasn't the first issue we had. So mile 6, a window net popped open, and we had to fix that real quick. So we had to kind of come to a complete stop, and everything was good. But I was trying to check all the bolts with my hand while we were going, and I didn't really tell her for about a mile. And then I'm like, my seat's broken. And but it is what it is at that point.
Hey, let me talk to the prep guy real quick.
Yeah. Well, I did
have the seat up the night before. So.
Yeah.
That was all him.
Hey, so you can't talk crap to nobody.
No, that's true. I don't have a leg to stand on.
That was all him.
We already got a bunch of comments coming in saying Romos are the best, and hi Sierra, and obviously Randy and Wes. So let's backtrack a little bit real quick here so we can talk about what happened first in the weekend. Is your dad just went out there and spanked everybody. Even Ronnie Anderson was mad at you, Randy.
Yeah, it's kind of hurt some feelings to hear you got beat by grandpa. So
Oh man, so how was the short course race? Because it was an 8-mile loop, obviously still gnarly as heck, but you had a I don't want to call it a fully built race car, so it's kind of in between, like a play car race car, and you just went out there and whipped some butt.
yeah, this was a really awesome showing for the brand new Turbo R's. Their platform was great. I think I had maybe 8 miles on it going into the race. Just had a little bit of test time with Fox and the shocks. Put a cage, net, doors, front bumper, rear bumper, and a couple bolt-on items, exhaust and stuff like that. And this car could not have done any better. I mean, it literally took everything flawless. I was kind of being a little cautious on the first couple laps because it was so rocky and I was afraid of getting a flat tire. And all during the race, I could hear them, you're up 2 seconds, you're down 20 seconds, you're up 10 seconds, you're down 30 seconds. And freaking Ronnie, man, he's an animal. He was just, both of us were just on a pace and we couldn't let up. So
It was one of those things you just hold it wooded, otherwise the other guy's going to win.
I heard he got a flat on the second to last lap. And in my mind, instead of backing off, I actually turned it up because I'm like,
look at this guy, Sierra, turning it up.
I know Ronnie, and he's going to drive like a madman. And he did exactly that. He said he just threw everything out the window and went full bore. And if I didn't do that, I would have lost. I think we won by like 1.6 seconds or something. So it was actually a good call. And I was seeing speeds in that thing like 97, 98, 99 miles an hour going down that long straightaway, the one that we did have. And
good God,
I couldn't have asked for anything but.
How did it feel, dude? Because going that fast in the side-by-side still blows me away, dude.
It's scary. I was actually feathering it because it wanted to go faster. And I'm like, I don't feel comfortable.
You're like, if we get into 3 digits, something might happen. We might get
Yeah.
Especially at those speeds, you start to wonder, like, did I tighten that one bolt?
Yeah.
You know, and then it gets a little sketchy.
So like Brandon was saying.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I always doubt myself because I'm like, if it gets too twitchy, you're like, oh, crap, dude. Oh, crap. Oh, crap.
Slow down.
Oh, yeah.
Slow down. Yeah. I really like the turbo cars. I still think they're a little faster on the top end or really close to the Pro R. So I'm going to stay in turbo class for next year and build me a brand new Turbo R for the desert. So I'll let her play in the Pro R and I'll play in the Turbo R platform and see what happens.
Big turbo guy over here.
Yeah, it's a challenge for everybody. Trust me.
I actually think that's cool though, because then you're given the opportunity to see both vehicles from, all in the same shop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, and we've always raced against each other, so it was a little bit different kind of going into different classes, but it's been cool because now we don't have to race against each other. Now we don't have those awkward family dinners about who beat who, so it works out.
We're still going to go over who's got the sorry.
Yeah, you got to start like gauging lap times and stuff. And plus, that can't be awkward. That helps everybody go faster, man.
Yes,
that's true.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's talk about like how you felt out there, Randy, with the actual race course, because I want to give everybody an understanding of it. We talked about maybe a couple things that could have been done better. I would still like to see the Land Rush start. I'm going to stick to my guns. But I honestly thought that the course was cool. When we pre-ran it on Wednesday, not the same course. It was clearly rougher for you guys. But when we pre-ran it on Wednesday, it was awesome. Like, I loved it.
That course, believe it or not, is what we have in our backyard. You go out our gate and you go about 2 minutes up the road, and we have Barstow in our backyard. Trust me, it's the same course. And so for us, I felt at home, felt comfortable. You know what the biggest challenge for me was at the start of the race, going around Barstow, Maine mountain right there. We were coming into the sun, and the sun was right there. I mean, even with sunglasses on, and my hand holding it, I couldn't even see. And then starting lap 2, we were already in lap traffic, and with all the dust, it was horrible. Like, and you can't stop, you can't slow down. We were still probably going 40, 50 miles an hour through the dust, blind. But you want to talk about a challenge. It was a challenge. And then down towards the bottom, there were some silt beds. And starting lap 2, 3, and 4, we really started getting into lap traffic. And I apologize to any of the people I passed up, because it was, I couldn't wait. So I was getting sketchy, kind of passing them in the bushes, and all I seen was bushes flying every direction. And, you know, it's what racing though. So
the Polaris Razor tree trimmer.
Oh, sorry
Yeah.
to BLM, because I know there's some trees missing.
They got to the finish line. I'm like, were you even on the track? Like, you have more books than anything else.
Hey,
Yeah.
real quick, Randy, while we're still going through your race, Sierra Gray Kelly just commented in saying how nice it was to meet you. So it's cool to see that you have such an impact on the youth.
Oh, that's so awesome. I finally got to meet her. I think she's based out of Las Vegas.
Yep.
Oh, you know, to have her come over to the shop, maybe take her around Pro R. I think that'd be awesome.
Ooh, that would be kind of cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
I bet you she
Definitely.
would. I don't know if she'd be able to see over the steering wheel. You might have to get her a couple pads, like butt pads, so she can see. But
Yeah. Maybe a few phone books, but we'll make it work.
yeah, that would be
Make-
super cool.
Make sure
Yeah.
the seat's bolted tight.
Oh yeah, we'll put the bolt back in the seat for her so her head doesn't bounce around like Wes's.
We can't really see Wes on camera, but I can just hear the jokes, man. Jokes coming in left and right over here.
I'll slide in a minute.
Yeah. George, and I told Matt and I told Killian, I went up to them personally each, and I just told them a big thank you for how they laid the course out.
Yep.
It was a fun course, technical. You know, you had to be patient. But what I really liked on the desert course was they put a bunch of ECPs, and that really kept it legit for the racers. There's lines you can choose from, but there's not mountain ranges you can go bypass.
Right.
Because so for me, it was huge respect for them, and hopefully it gets a bigger following next year. And I really respect that. You know, just let's make it where we all race on the same course. And if you beat me, then you're a better, faster guy that day.
Yeah.
But I don't want to have to worry about, you know, bypassing mountains. And well, I went to the VCP. Well, I mean, that's, you know, we'll leave that for a different. But the course was laid out really good, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I
I
did
think
too.
it all the driving, which
Yeah.
we can all appreciate.
Yeah, let's make it about the race, and we all race on the same track, and you know, we'll see who beats who.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, we had another comment come in talking about Sierra too. Desi Dela Cruz says she can't wait to meet you. You're doing such an amazing job. It had more details in there, but thank you, Desi, for commenting in. The off-road community, just like what Randy was saying, giving feedback, being honest with each other, having all the camaraderie, it's none other, man. It's super cool to see. So, Randy, congratulations. Ronnie kept you on your toes the whole time. To be honest with you, I'm surprised that both of you guys didn't fucking wad it up because you guys were going so damn fast, dude. It was crazy to see. I was like, Jesus, how the heck is he keeping it like this on edge the whole time?
There was a couple times on that last lap because I knew he was coming. Then I'm like, don't throw it away. Don't throw it away. Don't throw it away.
What were you doing, Sierra, watching?
Oh my gosh. I was getting text messages while he was racing, and people are like, your dad is actually fast. I'm like, I know, try racing against the guy. Like, you think, oh, here's this, you know, this dad, he can't be that fast, but he's freaking fast. And I think he showed that this weekend.
Actually, that's a good question to ask you, Randy. So since you and I are the old guys in racing now, and my vision's not what it used to be, excuse me, going these speeds in these new cars that can go so fast, do you have to adjust your vision to look further away, like maybe look like another 100 yards or 100 feet out to be able to keep up with the speeds you're going?
You know, I've been very fortunate, knock on wood. I still have 20/20 vision. My eyes are very good. And I attribute desert racing and the success that we've had to really having good eyesight and being able to see. It's like when we go to the sand dunes, we're big sand duners. That's where we come from. I'm always looking 3, 4, 5 dunes ahead of me.
Yep.
And I do the same thing in desert. I'm always looking immediate, and then I start scanning everything else to start seeing lines and corners and what's coming up and stuff. And I think you have to have really good eyes and really good hand-eye coordination. And fortunate I've been able to have that skill. So
yeah, and you obviously teach Sierra it too. We had a couple comments come in. Burton Brock says, "How long have you been racing, Randy?"
I started when Sierra did, I think in like 2014-ish, 15, somewhere around. So not a
the old
long
guys
time
coming up through the ranks quick, man, just making moves.
I know.
We started in Works and we worked our way to the desert. And this year, I'll tell you what, I'm super proud of us and the team and Wes and the whole crew that helps us get to these spots. But this year has been a pretty banner year for us. We started out with me taking second place in Pro Turbo overall at the 400. Then we did a couple state line races. We took first in one, second in the other. Sierra did the 636-mile race with Legacy and took third in that one.
That's so wild. That's a long race, man.
Yeah, and then Vegas to Reno was right after that, and then she took third in the desert. So I think this has been a pretty banner year, and I'm super proud of all the team that has helped us get here.
Hey, dude, you're just being too humble, man. You guys are just straight badasses, man. Keep kicking ass. Hey, so Shock Therapy commented in, beating Ronnie is no small joke, so great job, Randy. Matt Martelli commented in. We're going to talk to him later. He said, never underestimate old age and treachery. Romo killed it, which he did. Yeah, absolutely. And let's see. Yeah, just hammer down, says Russell 40-foot. And then, oh, yeah, so he was stoked on your answer, Brock was, for when you started racing and stuff. All right, so we're going to talk with the kids a little bit. Randy, is there anything else or anybody you want to thank before you dip out, and then we can get Wes's pretty face on here?
Yeah. Biggest one, of course, Polaris Razor, the factory racing, the stuff that they've been able to give us and help us out with this year. There's no way we could have been here without the help and support from them. Toyo tires. We went this whole race, her and me, 0 flats. That's huge in a race like this, and it actually goes to show you on my short course race, we didn't have no flat run flat, so that gave us a little bit of an edge right there. So big shout out to them. Baja Designs, Fox Shocks was a huge help in this race. Without Foxes, I don't think my kidneys would have held it, and hers either. So,
dude, the suspension was so crucial this race, like so crucial.
It was. Chupacabra Off-Road, Proline Wraps, VP Race Fuels. VP is a big supporter of ours. Thank you to them. Lone Star for building the cars that they do. It's hard to keep up with it. Shock Therapy, Super ETP, Hostile, Queen, Anti-Gravity, Crossroad Sport, Speed Strap, AGM, DynoJet, H-Town for all their help they've been doing with us lately. Desert Squadron, Maglock. Like, there's a list of people that help us out, and
can't forget about Mama. She's the rock of the team.
The wife is to even let me do this.
Hey, Randy, what's your favorite snack that she puts in the cooler when you guys are going out to the track?
Oh, there's only one. It's Uncrustables, strawberry.
Off-road is Uncrustables' freaking biggest fan, dude. Here we go.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Pitster Pro actually said, got roosted pretty good by you, Randy, after that competition stop in the valley that I cited was good. Thought was a good line. Congrats. So I can only imagine there's probably, I don't know, 40 other racers that were like, yeah, thanks, Randy, for roosting me.
Dude, I like I said, I apologize because there were some I just didn't have time to wait, and I was literally just flying through the bushes and just hoping there was nothing there. So I almost took out a cameraman. So if you're watching,
God, dude, are you serious? I'm not filming anywhere close to you, bro.
Oh.
I had to go get around the dust, and this cameraman's looking at the camera, and all of a sudden he looks up and he's like, "Oh crap!" And I see him just jump out of the way. So I was like,
deer.
Sorry.
Randy takes out a $5,000 cannon or something, dude.
Exactly. Sorry, guys.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Hey, but congratulations, man. It's no small feat to be able to obviously beat Ronnie Anderson, but to beat all the other competition as well, because there was some serious competition out there. And going that fast in a side-by-side really takes a lot of skill. People that think it doesn't, please go out there and try to do it, because it's gnarly. All right, thanks, Randy. Let's get Wes' pretty face in here.
We'll see you in Laughlin in a few days.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, thanks for being media girl, Sierra, helping us out here. All right, so give us a little bit of a rundown on the race, like where you guys qualified, and we'll start talking about before the seat bolt broke.
Yeah, so we started off, we qualified fourth. Was it like a 1 second off of Wayne Matlock? So just outside of top 30. But yeah, the guys in that class are super fast, and so to be up there in top 4 even was a huge accomplishment for us, and I think that put us in a really, really good position for the race. So I was super excited. I know Wes was too. Mitch Guthrie flying by himself, so it was one, and then it was Sims, Elliot Watts, and I. So we were third row off the. It was a really good starting position for us.
Hey, lean forward a little bit because the audio's going in and out. But yeah, so like, did you have expectations for it beforehand? Because fourth place is no slouch, like, and especially in qualifying, like it's so easy to miss it by just a second, right? Like, so it's gnarly to get that type of qualifying position. Did you guys already have a strategy, like we're going to go out and just hammer down in qualifying because we want to start in the front, or what was it?
I think it's always like that in qualifying. You always tell yourself you want to keep the car together or whatever, but in the back of our minds, we know that we have like 24 hours sometimes before we have to race, so we can fix what we need to. And we know that everybody else is going to go to the wall. Our wall might be a little bit different than others. I always tell everybody it's really nice because my driver isn't pumped full of testosterone. So like it's pretty smooth, but we push really hard. But the car was working so well.
Dude, Sierra does not lack aggression though. I get what you're saying, but still, dude.
No, for sure. There's that aggression there, but it's like a calm aggression, I guess you could say. Like if we were reversed, like we probably would have hit a bunch of things and broke a bunch of things. Yeah, for sure. So that's a really good thing. But the car, like I don't know, it's really hard to explain. I heard Sims and Skylar talking about it, but it's really hard to explain like how well suspension wise these new cars and our car is really dialed.
I was at a lot, and again, Bone Stock Pro R. Thank you very much, Sierra. We took it during the pre-run course, and like I was still amazed. Like I told Ryan Edwards, who's going to join us in a little bit here, I was like, "This car's like cheating, dude. Like it really is because it's so gnarly. Like it's literally like." I don't even know how to explain it. Like the way it pulls, the way it handles, the way that it can cruise through bumps. Like I never once really had to slow down. Like if I didn't want to hit the brakes, we didn't have to.
Yeah, and I think that I pretty much call it my little mini trophy truck because it doesn't compare to anything else. And like my dad and I, we were comparing the Turbo R in his race to my Pro R, and I think he saw a little bit more of like a top speed than I did, but the suspension is just it's untouchable. I don't think anything compares to it. So I think that's our biggest advantage when it comes to the Pro R.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the weight of the vehicle, the way that it's set up, and then the wheelbase is just the golden spot. So I think we're hitting the big bumps twice as fast as we would normally hit them. But the turbos always have that super acceleration when that boost kicks in. So it doesn't have that. But I would say the acceleration from 60 to maxed out is super fast.
Do you guys run it in the race mode button? Because it's too squirrely when it's so gnarly. That's so much. It's like a 2-stroke 250 power. It's like, what? Like massive power band.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think we've tried any other modes besides the race mode. So
Dude,
we're racing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The chill mode is more my style now, being washed up. We go slow. All right, so let's go through the race a little bit since we're talking about strategy here. So you start in the top group of drivers. Do you say we're going to go hard like what Brandon was saying, like on the first couple laps? Do you kind of chill out? Like how are you planning out the race before it goes?
No, my biggest thing was after pre-running and seeing the course, I thought I was going to run more of a conservative pace and kind of keep the car together. And I thought that's what all the other guys and girls were going to do. I thought, that was just our game plan. But right off the start, my biggest thing was catching Elliott or Sims's dust. And so I was pushing hard and I wasn't catching any dust. So I was like, okay, well, I guess we're just going to go hard from the start. And so I was pushing super, super hard from start to finish. And there was no conservative pace this race.
Yeah.
I mean, I finally started to catch Elliott's dust towards the middle to end of first lap. And he pulled into the pits. I got around him. And from there, I couldn't really catch Sims or Guthrie. So I knew that they were running a really, really fast pace. And so I knew I had to too. And we did from start to finish. There was not even a break. Like you couldn't get some water. You couldn't relax for a second. Like it was.
That's super wild too, because the lap times were right around 2 hours. So
Yeah.
to not see anybody basically for 2 hours and be like, dude, where are these guys? Because I'm pushing it. Like, that's got to be like an emotional roller coaster in your head for that, I don't know, an hour at least.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I was like, running the pace that we were running, we were pushing the car pretty hard, and I'm like, I'm not catching these guys' dust, so we just kept pushing harder and harder. And I'm like, I have to run this pace for the next 4 laps. Like, I don't think my body can handle this. But
Yeah.
What's the direction that you guys go, Wes? Then when you see that.
So it was kind of weird. So like she said, we caught Elliot. I don't know if he's had an issue or whatever, but he pulls in the pit. We get around him. And then we did start catching dust. But the problem was it was the people who started after us. There was a lot of, vehicles that were getting stuck up on some of those hill climbs and things like that. So there's little obstacles we had to get around. But I think we just put our head down and we just go. We do our own thing. We've always done that. We've always done our own thing. And, we both will fade a little bit. Sometimes I'll fade out a little bit. Sometimes she'll fade out a little bit. And we kind of just, snap back in it and just get going. And towards the end of the race, I think the last 50 miles, we did 100 or 200 miles with no hearing, basically. Yeah. I was wondering why I was getting a throat because I'm like, I'm not getting dust in my helmet. I'm checking, but it was because I'm screaming because that's the only way I can call out stuff. And, we just put our head down. And I know when Sierra's focused is when she doesn't talk. When Sierra's quiet and she doesn't talk, I know she's listening to everything I'm saying. And you can tell by the movement of the car and everything, and it just clicks. And it doesn't happen the entire race. I don't think anybody that races could have that clicks the entire race. You catch people, you have jobs you have to do, but we just clicked and we hammered down, especially that last 50 miles. We were hammering. We were going.
Maybe the guys that don't get phased are like the Icemen, like Mitch Guthrie and Brandon Sims, just full ice the whole time, just grinding. So Desert Squadron said, it's a non-pains pointing race, so it doesn't matter what you do. They're just going to go balls to the wall. So, that is a true statement, but that's actually kind of a cool thing to understand, right? And to go back on what you were saying, Wes, you guys also had a mechanical issue and lost a muffler, so that thing was just loud the whole time. Like, I still can't believe that you guys can even hear me right now.
So I'll tell you the whole story. So we're going, and I knew exactly what it was, but I didn't know if it was going to be off the headers or what. So I immediately jump out and it's gone. But I knew it was only probably 50 yards behind us. So I'm thinking there's still a clamp there. And in my head, I'm like, I'm just going to go grab this thing, zap it on and go. So I go over and she's like, I can't hear you. So I go over and yell in the window. And she's like, forget about it. Get in the car. And I'm like, I look at her like, are you serious? Like, what? So I, like a battered kid, I climb back in the car, buckle up, and we just take off. Elliot barely got in front of us. So we're immediately in his dust. And it was deafening, at least on my side.
We could seriously hear you guys probably 6.9 miles away.
It was so bad. Like, we were driving and all of a sudden the car just got super, super loud. And we knew it was exhaust, but I didn't know if it was like hanging off the car or anything. So he gets off and he like comes back and he's like, it's exhaust. I'm like, yeah, I know, but just tear it off. And he's like, no, it's gone. I'm going to go get it. And I'm like, no, you're not going to go get it. And he's like, I was like, why are you going to get it? And he's like, I'm going to go bolt it back on. And we're like screaming at each other. I'm like, get back in the car. He's like, no, I'm going to go get the exhaust. I'm like, get in the car now. Like, we don't have time for that.
I already knew what it was going to be like. So I knew that we were 70 miles into a 300-mile race.
No sympathy with your ears or your brain from Sierra. Hey, so it looks like one of the guys from Pro Eagle, probably Chuck, commented in saying that he thought you were like, you went so hard into those last couple jumps that he was thinking maybe you were going to nosedive it in, but you saved it. Like, I saw a few people go full wood, and one of those was you.
Oh yeah, especially at the finish line. I know I had those 2 jumps coming in and I had 3rd overall locked up. So I'm like, we're going to send it and we're going to give the crowd like a show. And I was like, so we sent it and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this is going to be bad. And so I just floored it.
You just see a pink and green rocket ship going to the moon.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, all right, adios, guys.
We almost pulled a Randy Romo and hit the guy waving the checkered flag, too.
Oh, dude. You guys are out for the freaking track crew. Lucretia Berrier also said she's the same, that you guys killed it. Matt Martelli said, oh, clearly you can have a signature exhaust now. So whoever's looking for a marketing, please contact Sierra Romo and Wes Leffler. Alexia said she lost her exhaust, too, so she feels your pain. But yeah, so what was your guys' favorite portions of the track? I mean, If you had a nice sounding car, what would you have enjoyed the most?
I think my favorite section was about 10 miles before you get to Slash X. You're real tight and technical, but then it starts opening up a little bit. And it actually gets into some really big bumps, and the car was just working so good. And then as you come down the hill before you get to Slash X at like 2 miles straightaway, there's 4 lines. So it didn't matter if somebody was in front of us, we were catching lap traffic or whatever. We went straight to our line, which we were able to use our line every lap, and it was pinned. We pinned it for 2 miles. Come into that left-hand long sweep corner that just basically did a 180. It passed all our pit crew waving at us, and it just pumps you up, and gets you going again. I think that was probably my favorite.
Sierra, did you kind of get like you were just leaning on the outside berm in that corner?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was pinned and we were coming into a corner and right there we actually had to make a pass on somebody. So I cut like hard inside and the other guy went like hard outside.
Yep.
So we're like leaning on each other and I'm like, please don't catch a rut. Please don't catch a rut. And like we were pinned and like everybody in the pits was stoked. The course worker was stoked. My whole pit crew was standing there like cheering me on. And so that had to be my favorite.
But you were also stoked too because of a left-hander. So Wes got off your shoulder and fell to the outside of the car.
Yeah. Well, I was stoked because I wasn't hitting my head on the fire extinguisher.
My fire extinguisher's all big head.
Yeah,
did you guys ever play that game when you were little in the back seat of the car where you don't like you just sit there and you just lean on the friend in the back seat of the car?
That was him.
Playing corners. Yeah.
On your side of the car, dude.
But people don't understand is when you're strapped in, you do whatever the seat does. You don't have an option. So if the seat's leaning, you're going. Like there's leaning back,
And it's not like you can sit up and lift your hip.
Yeah, and we've never run like I don't run foot braces. I don't run like a handle that I hold on to in the car. I'm just super comfortable just sitting there and doing my job.
You don't run a footprint gas pedal?
Like, man, I wish I had a handle. Wish I had something to hold on to.
You don't run a footprint gas pedal?
No, I don't run any of that.
Oh, man, I think you guys had a good time out there. What was your favorite portion of the track, Sierra? I can kind of tell that it was probably out there in that same area where it got like nice and flowy, where you were kind of just like hitting those ruts and like going through some of that fast stuff.
Yeah, I definitely have to say the same part that Wes said, because it was like constant jarring for 50 miles straight. So we come into that little section and it opens up to all these different lines. So, the few times that we were catching somebody or we did have dust, it gave us an opportunity to pass somebody, which was cool. And then, of course, with my car being so loud, it sounded pretty cool, I have to admit, to be wide open for just miles straight. But yeah, the car handled the whoops incredibly. So for it to just float over all that section was pretty cool.
So there was a couple times when we were in the main pit area and we were thinking like, like if you have like radio communication and you can't like hear anybody on the radio because they're too far out, you didn't have that because we could hear you.
Oh, yeah. Like my pit crew could hear me for miles and miles.
Well, I was screaming the whole time. I'm screaming notes for hours and hours. And then it wasn't until after the race that the pit crew was making fun of me. Nolan Williams came and helped us out, and he was making fun of me and making everybody laugh because I would call out stuff on the radio, but I was screaming at them also. So they're like holding the radio way far away because Wes is screaming at him like, race mile 55. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I got to scream because they can't hear me when really I could have just talked normal.
Wes, stop yelling.
Yeah. After the too, I think we were screaming at everybody and like we didn't know. We couldn't hear each other. So we get out and everyone's talking to us and like, why are you screaming? And I'm like, oh, sorry.
It's like when people have their headphones on and like the music's really loud. Matt Martelli just chimed in and said, we thought it was a trophy truck.
We did too.
Oh, that's wild. All right. So your dad just chimed in and said, Uncrustables, what's your favorite snack that your mom packs in the cooler?
I'd have to say strawberry Uncrustables. That's always kind of been our go-to, whether it's testing or going to the dunes, the racetrack. Yeah, strawberry Uncrustables is always a go-to.
Okay, fine. We're taking strawberry Uncrustables out. You got to pick something else.
If I ain't doing strawberry Uncrustables, I just want rolled up turkey and a cheese stick.
Dude, that's fire. I'm in.
I'd have to say Gushers then.
Yeah.
Gushers.
Big Gushers girl over here. All right. Well, whenever your birthday is, please DM me and let me know what kind of Gushers you want.
Well, you just missed it, so I think you owe me a pack of Gushers.
Oh, dang. Okay, fine. I'll get you some Gushers. What about those pocket chimneys? Woo, those sound good too.
Yeah. So, race mom always has the chimichangas ready for us. And so we got the Del Taco, which was awesome. You know, I ate that. And then she had 2 hot chimichangas waiting for us. And I had to go up to her and said, I love Del Taco, but these are way better than the Del Taco tacos. Sorry, Matt, or whoever, Del Taco, if you're watching, but nothing beats a hot chimichanga.
Plus, I just like hearing Wes say chimichanga.
Chimichanga. Yeah, no, funny because mom she bought this thing off of Amazon, and you plug it into like a cigarette lighter, and it warms up your food for you. So she put them in all the chase trucks, so all the guys have them. So she puts like chimichangas and like corn dogs, and we put them in the ice. And so the guys just throw them into the little heater, heat up their chimichangas. So like we get to the finish line, and the guys all have like warmed up chimichangas and corn dogs, hot dogs, and it's like a buffet out there for our pit crew.
Dude, that's crazy. How big is that little heater thing?
I'd say it's probably like...
It's like a lunch. It's like one of those lunch box, yeah.
Oh, weird. We just had Mike from BP said that he couldn't see the feed, but it looks like it's working good to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's kind of wind this thing down here. So was there anything other than those 2 instances that you had on the track that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I think it was on lap 3. We were in our group, we were going good, and all of a sudden we come up to this like sketchy kind of like rock climb S-turn mountain, and there's a course worker, like a truck, and he's stopping everybody. And there was 3 or 4 cars in front of us, and it was a bottleneck. So there was about 2 or 3 cars stuck on the hill, like sideways, completely stuck. And so the lady comes over, she writes down our number and our time, and she's like, I was like, well, can we still go? Like, I have 4-wheel drive. I can make it up the side of this mountain. I want to go, because that just kind of gave Stims and Mitch more opportunity to check out. Like sitting here getting all antsy. I'm like, I'll just go around everybody. I won't come near anybody. She's like, no, you got to stay here. Like, everybody's got to stop. So I have like a little backup camera, and we throw it in reverse, and we're just watching everybody stack up behind us. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, I'm just thinking of all the different scenarios. I'm like, Mitch and Sims are gone, and here we are. I just caught all this dust. And so that kind of sucked for us. That was a huge bummer. And I think we were stuck in that for probably like 7 minutes.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And when they let us out of the bottleneck, it was just pure dust. Like there was 4 of us going up this rock climb together, and it was a nightmare, but we instantly got around everybody and made some passes on that fast section that we were talking about, which was cool.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, for sure.
But that was a huge bummer for us.
Yeah, I mean that's par for the course, though, right? Like you got to do that. I mean, like at the Baja 500 this year, there was a massive bottleneck, and you always got to be mindful that it could be for a human. Like somebody maybe needs help or something like that. Like so, whenever I think about it, I always think like, okay, first, is everybody okay? Second, how do we want to get around this and proceed forward? And then third, how the race organization is going to deal with it at the end of the race, right? So, and you guys have a good opportunity because you have a great relationship with Mad Media and Matt Martelli to be able to talk with them about it after. And I know a bunch of people had that same discussion with him, and I think that was pretty fair at the end.
Oh, yeah. I think Martelli Brothers did a really good job of handling the situation. They wrote down everybody's number, gave us a time credit, which was awesome. So, I mean, those guys know how to handle those types of situations.
Yeah, it's not their first rodeo. All right, so we're going to wind down here in a little bit, or right now, and then we're going to get Chris Meyer from Maxxis Tires, Ethan Ebert from Honda Off-Road Racing, and then Ryan Edwards is going to come on as well, talks about some stuff. But if you had any suggestions on what you would do better at the race, like the debrief that you guys had on the way home, what would it be?
Ooh, that's hard.
I mean, we always do a really good debrief. We always want to make sure we're always like working on our prep game. We'll put our prep game up against anybody's. We feel really strong. It's one thing to have one race car on a team and to run one race car, but over here we run sometimes 3 race cars, 4 race cars for a race. And, we pride ourselves on what we do in the shop. As far as this race goes, it's just, there's small minor tweaks that could be done. I think that, the limited classes and, I think some like the class 11s should have, cut lines or detour lines. Sometimes Score does that because sometimes it's impassable. But like you said, I mean, it's racing. We were able to get our time credits, so that wasn't too bad. It was just after the restart, we were stuck behind a few people, but we got around them. But other than that, man, we pride ourselves on our prep and what we do in the garage. Randy's always telling us that we're winning races and we're doing good in races because of the hours we spend in the garage. And I think that's true.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Sierra, give us a rundown of who helped you guys at the races, and then we're going to get the Honda boys on.
Yeah, of course, we got to thank Polaris Razor. They've been a huge supporter of ours. The reason why we're racing, provide us with a great platform to compete on. Gravel Kings tires, no flats. I ran their open country side-by-side 35-inch tire, and it was amazing. It just floated over everything. I mean, I know a lot of those guys had flats out there, but those Toyo tires held up great. It was awesome for us. Baja Signs, Fox Shocks. We ran the live valve suspension, which is game changer. Chupacabra, Proline Wraps, VP Race Fuels, Lone Star, Shock Therapy, Super ATV, Hostile, Queen, Anti-Gravity, Cross Motorsports, Speed Strap, AGN, my mom, my dad, this guy, my pit crew, and everybody else who makes it possible. Yeah. It takes a village.
Desert Squadron as well. Yeah, I'm so stoked that your mom is coming to the races, and honestly, I think I'm going to try to slide in to be part of your team, get some snacks from her, maybe a chimichanga. All right, so maybe that's the clip that I cut out, the audio clip, and I'll put it on the soundboard, is just Wes saying chimichanga, and we'll just hit it whenever we have a show. All right, guys. Hey, we're going to get the Honda guys on. Will we see you at Laughlin or no?
We will, yep. We've already begun.
So excited for that race in the car.
Dude, it'll be rad to see how fast you guys go there. All right, we'll see you guys this weekend. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
All right.
George.
Bye, Randy. We'll see you later. All right, let's get the Honda boys on. We're going to get Chris Meyer on here, talk about what fun he had at the races. Thank you very much to Sierra and the whole team, the Romo Motorsports team, for coming on. Let's get Ethan on here. Chris Meyer, what's up, dude? How are you?
What's up, man? I'm good.
I like your Maxxis Tires hat. That's pretty nice. I think we should just officially call you, you're marketing guy for Maxxis, but now I think we should just call you tire tester extraordinaire.
I'm good with that. Yeah. Well, I'll add it to the title. Like my email signature.
Yeah,
Next time
exactly.
I send you an email.
So everybody has to do more work and get into different job positions these days, so you can just add it on.
Yeah. No problem. I have multiple email signatures. This one will be. Oh, what was it again? I need to note it.
Tire tester.
Oh yeah, got it.
All right, so let's wait, and we'll get Ethan Ebert on here real quick, and I think Ryan Edwards is probably going to join too, and then we can talk a little bit. What's up, buddy? Hey there, bud. So you're back in Georgia now?
Yeah, I'm home.
Right on.
I'm managing the crew.
Sweet, man. All right, looks like we got Ethan Ebert on now too. What's up, Ethan? Can you hear us? I don't think we can hear you, Ethan. I'll text him real quick. Can't hear you, buddy.
He looks rad he's got the thing and
the full blue, like that whole like YouTuber
the vibe right there was, yeah.
Dude, it was pretty hard, right?
Twitch streaming.
All right, so let's ask a couple questions here. So, you got to go out, you got to support all of the Maxxis drivers. You got to see Jeremy McGrath, Rowan, Wes Miller. Who are some of the other Maxxis guys that you got to hang out with this week?
Fight got a title, right? And I didn't even get to say hey to him. So I was a little bummed about that. And then we hung out with the whole Honda team, which was rad. Miller, McGrath. Am I leaving anyone out?
No, I think there was a couple more guys, but that's a pretty good lineup right there. And you also got to hang out with Ethan Ebert. Ethan Ebert, what's up, dude?
That's right. The man.
We can kind of hear you a little bit. I think you might have to come closer to the phone, or your AirPods aren't hooked up all the way.
Bro.
No, still can't hear you, buddy. Maybe just don't use the speakers. No? There we go. It's a little bit better. Still can't hear you.
Hold on. Here.
All right, it sounds a little bit better now. So let's talk about this a little bit, Ethan. So you guys just started building a Honda Talon pre-runner so that you could have a little bit better vehicle to pre-run the course in, like for Baja and some of those other events. How was that going before the race?
Dude, it's actually going really good. Me and Joe put some good effort and time in it, and mainly him, just because I got caught up with school and work and all that stuff. So just focused on that and had Joe do the rest of the car. But it was a lot of fun, just tearing apart the whole car and getting more information and more knowledge of my race car, just so if anything does happen, I can help Joe out there.
Yeah, totally. And then you got the opportunity. Or an idea came about that you were going to surprise Chris at Maxxis and allow him to drive that Honda Talon pre-runner, we'll call it, or short course car at the California 300. That was pretty cool that you and Proctor had put that all together. Were you a little bit scared for him, or like, did you know what he was capable of?
Dude, I had no clue what his background was in off-road racing or anything, but I was like, dude, might as well. I mean, come on, just get his name out there, get his experience, and hey, maybe he might buy a car and start racing with us.
Dude, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Hey, so Chris, what is your background in off-road?
Closed course motocross racing. I've never followed little pink arrows around a race course before. So visibility's never been quite such a struggle either.
It's pretty wild, right?
It was rad. You know, I've watched some videos when I first started of like dash cam stuff from trophy trucks, and like it's so intense. You know, like the closer you are to someone, the less you can see. Like that inverse relationship and how gnarly that is.
Yep.
Right. And so it was cool to experience that firsthand, and then kind of to play that. How fast can I go without messing something up?
Yeah, totally. Well,
and listening to someone tell you to, cool your jets.
Yeah, exactly. So co-drivers have a hard job, but it's wild to understand that too. So I'm just going to give away the secret right now. Chris got on the podium. He got a third place in the Production 1000 short course race. The only guy to eat his medal X Games style, best picture of the whole weekend. Like that was pretty cool.
For sure.
But well, Ethan, first of all, very nice shirt. I like it.
Dude, my mom made it for me. So got to show it off.
Did somebody eat your sleeves?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, they flew off when I was going so fast in the Honda Talon. So it's just one of those things.
With the Maxxis tires just biting the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Chris, when you got to the races and stuff, and you figured out that you were going to be able to jump in a car, like that's got to be pretty amazing, man. Like, and you're welcome for letting you borrow my helmet.
Thank you. I look at like the bottom of the top a lot because your head, it's confirmed. You have a larger head than I do because that thing would.
He'd move that melon.
Yeah. Now it was. Listen, I was telling someone the other day that is got to be one of the coolest experiences of my life. Just kind of the way it all happened, right? Like for it to be kind of. It's not like something you prep for or had a lot of time to really think about. And so to just kind of step into it and do it, that made it, I don't know, it made it just straight fun. Like I text Jeff afterwards. I said, I told you this too, I had a harder time going to sleep the night after the race than the night before.
Yeah, it's because you're filled with so much adrenaline.
Like, dude, that was so rad. That was so fun. That was, and then just kind of having that competitive background, like you do, like you're thinking about all the things that you could like improve on quickly. So, that doesn't go away. I'm not going to lie. There was some kid who's way better than me staged next to me in the starting line. And I mean, it crossed my mind to just go hard left and clean him out before we got done the start straight. Yeah, it's just you kind of have those competitive juices. So, and I don't get to do those types of things so very often. So it was really cool to get.
Yeah,
to
it
do
is
that.
cool. Matt Martelli just chimed in and said it's so awesome to see the sponsors coming in and racing with us. Real, recognize real, and that's true too, right? And having that opportunity, by Ethan and his whole family and the Honda Off-Road guys was pretty rad. And like we got to see a little bit of that stuff throughout the weekend and the smile on your face and stuff. Ethan, what did you think when you were seeing Chris like out there? Were you like, damn, he's actually hauling the mail?
Dude, he was doing really good. For the couple passes that I saw him go, I was like, dang, he's actually getting into it. He was just over time when we went pre-running, he was just getting more and more comfortable, and it was just awesome to see. He's just got that full factory treatment, arrive and drive, and just got on the podium too. So it was awesome,
dude. It was so good.
I was gonna say there was a point the night before where I was pestering Jeff, saying, "Hey, I can help with that," and Jeff looks at me very sternly. He goes, "Hey, man, you're here to race.
Oh,
you're a driver." He did this whole speech, and I could imagine actually being there, legit. And he's like, "I need you hydrating. I need you thinking about tomorrow. I need you clearing your mind."
Dude, great athlete talk right there.
It was. I was like, yes, this is legitimate. Yeah. It's kind of went straight to my head.
No wonder you bit the metal like X Games. I don't know how to pronounce his Instagram name, Rob Nor, but he said, "So have you already started acquiring sponsors to get together for your debut next season?"
Listen, I've been inquiring on cars. Yes, I've been calling around. I got it. It's after. Well, I was telling a couple of buddies, I was like, dude, we got to figure out how to do this every once and again. I don't know how, but it's such a different challenge. And it's being, again, I hate not to make a big deal out of being from the opposite coast, but you just don't get to experience that kind of terrain and those specific challenges. So to get the opportunity to do that is super cool.
Dude, absolutely. All right, so we're going to talk, Ethan, let's talk about your race a little bit, and then we'll end it with the good stuff with Chris. So how did your race go?
Well, it was definitely going really good on the first lap. So we were, I believe what I've been told is we were leading the first lap by, 2-3 minutes maybe. And when we came in we didn't come into pit at all. So we just went straight through because we got that bigger fuel cell. So we did the first lap, was leading in leading in time, and just kept going. And we never saw anyone, so we pretty much just had clean air the whole way through. But Joe and I were just getting it dialed in. We put on a pretty good heater too for the first one, so that was kind of our plan. But when we got in the second lap, we came into the pit, and they saw that we had a torn boot in the right rear. So we had to change that. So that kind of put us back 15 minutes, but the crew did such a good job changing that out. Yeah. It was really awesome for them. And refilled, got back out. And I think we were running second or third on our third lap. But ending that near third lap, me and Joe were just done. We couldn't handle the race car anymore. So I believe it was just mainly my poor decisions for hydrating. I feel like I should have hydrated a little bit more and maybe put a little bit more time in for cardio. But we were just done because our heads just kept hitting the back, since it was such a gnarly course. But ending of the third lap, we had to get out. And that's just kind of how it went down.
Yeah, it's gnarly, dude. That course was just crazy gnarly. And then you guys had a good support mechanism, man. To see behind the scenes stuff was really cool. Chris, you were doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff too. It sounds like you actually talked to Gray Kelly, who was actually on the show a little bit earlier, about some racing stuff.
I talked to so many people I can't even remember who all I talked to. It was good. I try to talk to as many people as I can. I don't know a lot. So, I know enough, but it's always good to know more.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I would put it. So, anytime I get an opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime I get an opportunity to, talk to someone that I've never met before and learn and kind of hear a different perspective or their perspective, I try to take the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me being an old fart, I don't know.
All right, so let's get Caden Mack's going to come on in just about a minute here. Let's get both your guys' favorite things of the weekend, and then also what you can do better for next time. So, Ethan, you go first.
Probably the favorite thing was qualifying. That qualifying track was a lot of fun. Except we didn't send the big jumps. I'm kind of sad that we didn't. I kind of wanted to. I was like, should I? But me and Joe were like, nah, we kind of like our backs, so we didn't send them. But yeah, that was fun. But to take away from that race is just me getting better cardio and stuff. Just eating healthier way earlier before the race and just doing all that stuff. So that's what I take away from it.
Dude, get on Phil Blurton's program because that's the program to be on, right, man? He's got a good deal going. All right, Ethan, thanks very much for joining us, dude. And it was good seeing you and your family this weekend. Keep doing that good work, man. Help and support your sponsors and the people around you. It makes a big difference, dude.
Of course, we just try to help everyone we can, because if we can get the more people we can get in this sport is just the better, obviously. So
I agree 100%. All right, Chris, the same question to you, man. Let's see here. Bradley M. Howe actually said your son and you have the same haircut. He loves it.
Oh, Bradley.
All right, Ethan, you can bail out, but please wear as loud as sunglasses as you possibly can next time I see you.
Oh, dude, I already got the other ones picked out, so we're ready.
All right, we'll see you later.
All right, later, boys.
Hey, thanks, Ethan.
Of course.
All right, Chris, what was your favorite part, and what could you do better?
I think I'm going to have to say that my favorite part was doing a pre-race interview and telling whatever the announcer's name was that I was going to see him the next day on the podium, and then showing up on the podium because I was totally just talking smack. So to pay that one off, when you call your shot and you make it, like you really got to lean in.
Dude.
So,
but it was pretty cool to see that because it just goes to show how cool off-road is, right? Because you're having fun, you're talking shit, you're having a good time, and then you go out there and then you're like, you're getting into the flow, you're kind of feeling how it's going, and then like, oh, hey, we're doing good, like we could step it up, like what do I do better? You're probably communicating with Daniel, your co-driver, being like, how am I doing? What can I do?
I'm at, I mean, there was a lot like, where do there's a ton of, simply, I could get better at right-handers. We could just start there. Whether a dirt bike or I'm not Zoolander level, but I'm not far off. That, and then the other thing, Ethan mentioned it. Like I had it in my mind until Daniel talked me out of it that I was not going to let off from the start line off that first jump. I was like, this is going to be awesome. I'm just not going to let off. And he's like, this is not advisable. So, but that's, I don't have a lot of time behind the wheel of really many four-wheel machines other than, janky commuter vehicles. So it's all I could have experience in all of it. It was rad.
Yeah, there's a couple comments that came in. Daniel, actually, your co-driver, just said you got better lap by lap, so that's rad. Alexia Lemming said right-handers are always harder than left-handers. And it was just cool to see. Like, I really want to commend you because whatever position you got, the smile that you had on your face and the level of respect that I saw coming out of you with all of the people around you, the people that you were supporting, the athletes, the drivers, the teams, it looked to me like you were just having a good time doing it. And I love to see when manufacturers of any products, tires, shocks, anything, have that same passion because it means a lot to the industry and it really helps things grow.
Listen, I worked in a different industry in my younger years, and to be blessed with an opportunity to work in this industry, I don't take it for granted. It is a joy to speak to so many people that love what they do or love what they're involved in. And, that I think it's really, I just, wherever you go, it's underrated how cool all of motorsports is, and how awesome of a vibe and a community that pulls together when need be. Like we're all competitive, and when it's time to be serious and be elite, we get on the podium. That's what we do. But
no big deal.
But I mean, let's have some fun, right? Please, or else why do it? So, I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm grateful that I get to work in this industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's been a great time getting to know you better, and I have a lot of respect for what you do and how you carry yourself in the industry as well.
I appreciate it. Well,
and Proctor and the Ebert family as well. I mean, I've both spoken to both of them personally, but can't say enough for how well they carry themselves, represent Maxxis as a brand from my corporate perspective, and then just how they represent the industry and themselves.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Well, we're gonna get Caden Mack on, so just thank all your sponsors, Big Racer Guy.
That's be Honda Factory Off-Road.
Yep.
Proctor Racing Group, the Ebert family, and Maxxis Tires, of course.
Dude. Some pretty massive sponsors there. All right. Well, good job, man. We really appreciate you supporting the industry, obviously, and thanks for coming out and having some fun. Still love seeing the smile.
Right on.
All right, Chris. We're going to get Caden Mack on. Have a good one, dude.
Have a good evening.
Later, you too. All right, so we're going to get Caden MacCachren on here. Caden had some pretty good driving skills over the weekend. His first race in a trophy truck. Caden Mack, what's up, dude? How are you?
How are you, George? I'm doing pretty good.
We're doing good, man. I would like to say congratulations. You did a fantastic job this weekend. It was your first race in a trophy truck that has seen a lot of wins, actually. And I would just like to get the elephant out of the room here. You weren't happy with your performance. You want to do better, but I love seeing that because that means that you always want to be better at racing. So give us a little bit of a rundown.
Yeah, kind of the sentence you just said, it's kind of a bummer that I am upset knowing that we did win trophy truck. Of course, I wanted to win overall. But for me as a racer, it's hard for me to look at it that way as to be happy for the opportunity and what happened. But of course I am kind of giving a rundown of the week. The week started, I guess, on Tuesday. The decision to run this race really wasn't made until the week before the race. So 2 weeks ago, I think. But even Tuesday night, getting home from work, loading the truck up, it was still like, we'll see how it goes. Get there. We pre-ran Wednesday. We didn't go Tuesday to pre-ran. We went Wednesday to pre-ran. Pre-ran 3 laps in my Polaris Razor. The track, of course, you've heard a lot before, was gnarly, technical, and rough. But as you pre-run more laps, that stuff smoothens out. You get used to the rough stuff, and you kind of know where it is, so you're better prepared for it. Wednesday night, got prepared to go qualify. Thursday morning.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Was the truck already prepped, or did you have to help the team get it all prepped? Like, what's the lead into it? Like, how much does the team and your father put you to work to give you the opportunity to get out there?
So the truck came off the Baja 400 just about 2 weeks ago or so, or 3 weeks ago. I can't even remember nowadays with all the races, but not too long ago, the truck raced the Baja 400. It had a pretty good result there. The truck came home. It basically got cleaned, washed, and a little bit of prep. My dad, along with the guys at Collins, Eric at Collins, they kind of prepped the truck. I have to go to work, so it's kind of hard to get my hands on that truck because I have my own Polaris to prep. But thankfully they did most of the prep. It was mainly just oil change, wash it down. Again, the decision wasn't made, or I didn't even know I was racing until the weekend before the race.
Yeah, it was kind of a surprise for everybody. I'm so assuming for you that was gnarly.
Yeah, it was I was actually at work in a hole one day, and my dad called and he asked, "Hey, are you busy?" I'm like, "Yeah, but what's the question?" And he's like, "You're racing my truck at the California 300." I'm like, "Oh, huh,
that's cool."
Let me think about that. But it's a yes, but let me think about it. Let me think about the ins and outs and everything.
I can even see your eyes lighting up right now. Hey, real quick, we got some fans down in Australia watching right now to say hi to you.
What's up, guys? How are you guys? I want to go to Australia, so if anybody can make that happen, I'd love to do it.
Boom. Let's figure that out for you. But yeah, that is cool, man. And it's really neat to see your dad loves racing. Your whole family loves racing. It's really cool to see him give you the opportunity to do this. And at a race in Southern California where everybody can watch you do it, how was the pressure? Like, how does it feel getting in the driver's seat? Are you just excited? Are you worried? Like, what's the emotions behind it?
Yeah, of course, it's a huge opportunity for my dad to give me the opportunity to do this, but there's also the people that give him the opportunity to drive
Exactly.
his truck for a living. So that's like, BF Goodrich Tires, VP Racing Fuels, all those people kind of banded together. This race wasn't really on the schedule, so we were able to, throw some tires together from BFG and some fuel from VP to be able to put this truck on the, for the race. And huge thanks to those guys. They've been, longtime partners with my dad, and we're getting on some pretty good years partners with me. With my short course Polaris program. But yeah, the question about the pressure, to me, very early on my racing career, I people ask, do you get nervous before the race or anything? And I'd never been that way. To me, it's kind of just the job needs to get done and you go do the job and there's no reason to be nervous about it.
Yep.
Pressure, not really. I mean, I know what I'm capable of and other people are, starting to understand what I'm capable of and trusting me with, opportunities to do these things like race the truck. But yeah, pressure for me, I mean, it does no good to, hold the pressure on your shoulders. You might as well just let it off and, close your eyes and do what you know how to do.
Yeah.
So the pressure wasn't too bad.
Yeah, just let your senses and your ability take over. I agree with that wholeheartedly, man. And I think those are well-spoken words from a youngster. But I think that those are really mature words, right? Because a lot of the people that watch the show are kids. There were a couple kids that came on the show. And to be able to understand that, I think really excels you as a driver and could help them as drivers as well, because it shows how passionate you are, first of all, when you critique yourself so much at the end of a race, but you also position yourself at the beginning of a race to be able to execute as good as possible. So both of those things are very, very important. And I appreciate you being so honest with us.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's a lot of people that put their butts on the line for us to go race, me and my dad. So it's not just the companies or the names you see on my shirt. It's the people behind those companies that have built those companies and built those products to be the best. So we're able to go run that truck through the desert as fast as we do.
All right, we only got about 3 minutes left, but give us a little bit of a rundown of the race and kind of how excited you were to be out there when you were actually pushing on the gas and turning the steering wheel, because it looked fun, man. You made it look like it was smooth, and it was a gnarly course.
Yeah, Thursday we were able to qualify on the pole with my dad riding with me, and that was kind of my first time I was able to push that truck, not to its max, but close. I drove a little bit Tuesday night or Monday night here in town, out in the desert, and kind of got comfortable with it. But able to qualify first by about 20 seconds was pretty cool. Friday, I actually raced in a Class 11 car with my dad's good friend and a good family friend. Yeah, Cisco Bio. He's a Class 11 legend. He wins a lot of races in Class 11. So I rode passenger with him for 2 laps, got a little bit more pre-run time in. And then Friday night, basically my dad said he wasn't going to ride with me, so I had to find a co-rider. And it was kind of a joke, we were joking around to people, hey, you want to ride? Hey, you want to ride? And everybody was like, I don't know. Friday morning came around, and Tucker Conroy, and people are familiar with in the industry, preps Gaunt stuff and Dorman stuff. He had a guy, Andrew Ortiz, who ended up hopping in the co-driver seat with me Friday morning. He had never seen the truck or nothing, and he got in there and did a great job in the right-hand seat. The green flag flew, and we put the hammer down, did the first lap, came back around. We had a pretty good gap on the next truck, so we started backing it down. Second and third lap went by pretty smooth. Fourth lap went around, and we got out to Slash X pit, and we realized Grabowski's were pretty dang close to us. And I know that they haul butt, so I put the hammer down. We weren't sure completely on the time that, how much we had them by or how much they had us by, but I knew that I need to get to the finish line as fast as possible. So we tried to do that. Unfortunately, I got a little ahead of myself probably and clipped the rock pretty hard. Got a flat tire, and it took a while to change. Again, my fault. I'm the one that got the flat. It's not the co-rider's fault. A lot of drivers say it's the co-rider's fault with the flat tire. Took a long time. It's my fault. I hit the rock. That was about 10 miles or 5 miles from the finish line. There was not much we could do after that. We still hammered down across the finish line, and Killian and Matt Martelli came up to me, and they kind of saw it in my eyes that I knew what happened, and they knew. And I had Killian stand there right next to me with his phone in his hand, showing me the times. And as soon as Grabowski crossed the line, we knew we lost. Overall, we won trophy truck, but congratulations to Grabowskis. I'm around them a lot. We always talk in staging before the race. The 3 boys they're all pretty cool guys, and even their dad is. They've been around the industry for a long time, and it's cool to see the low power spec trucks win, because that's kind of a little bit more of the industry I'm from, is the spec trucks and the 6100s with the LS3s. I always figure that those are pretty dang cool trucks that they're racing. So it's cool to see one overall. Of course, I wanted overall, but we still won Trophy Truck, and nobody can take that away from us.
Yeah, and just like Matt Martelli said right now, he said you made history, which you did. And I think it's so commendable, man. You're a fantastic driver. And one of the things that I understood by what you were saying right now is a word that I live very, very highly with, and that's accountability. And you take accountability for what you do, and that's why you are achieving the things that you are, is because if you pass the buck, you're not helping yourself, right? But if you take responsibility and accountability for the things that you're doing, it makes you really strive to be a better person, better race car driver, everything. It helps you a lot in your life. So please keep being that person, dude, because that's going to make it so that you're a much better human being and a racer in the future.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. And again, this whole thing was not winged. We don't do anything. We don't wing anything. Yeah, everything's prepared. But we didn't have any pit guys going to this race. So Friday morning, I believe, we walked over to Olgas's guys, Steve Olgas, who's been a family friend for a long time with my dad. We asked if their pit guys would pit us, and they were happy to help.
Yep.
They had very fast tire changes, and it was awesome to have people jump in and help. It was pretty dang cool racing that truck, and I hope we get the opportunity again. But yeah, overall, looking back at it, it was a pretty amazing weekend, and I really hope to do it again.
A couple comments, and then we'll have you thank your sponsors. But Lopez Racing said, can't wait to see what you do in the future. You got a great future ahead of you. Drove, controlled, and brought it to the finish line in one piece, which was very difficult during that race. We got some more comments coming in, but please give a shout out to all the people that helped you. I know there was a lot of people behind the scenes and obviously on the side of the truck.
Yeah, of course, BF Goodrich tires. These 40-inch tires. I'm used to a 28-inch KM3 on my Polaris, and these 40-inch tires really just roll over everything, and that's something that I had to get used to in the trucks, is how fast they go over the rocks. Fox shocks, VP Racing Fuels, Vision Wheel. We were able to put our truck on display in the Vision Wheel booth Thursday after qualifying. They actually just came out with a carbon fiber UTV wheel. It weighs about 9 pounds. So that's something that's going to, be industry changing, and it's pretty cool to see. I held it in my hands, and it feels like a trophy, not a wheel. So
that's
it'll
be
cool to see.
To put that on your car.
Yeah, I can't wait. It'll be great to see that wheel take off, and hopefully change the industry, change the game a little bit. Also, I want to thank everybody that has stuck with me for a long time. Behind these companies are people. I've said that before, but they're not just people; they're mentors to me, and it means a lot to they care and. Talk to me how to do better and how to change the things I'm doing. And I appreciate that a lot. Sometimes I get super down on myself or hard on myself, and those people reassure me that everything's okay and I'm doing a good job. So that's pretty important and special to me, along with my dad. He's, of course, a huge mentor and the whole reason I'm in this sport anyway. But it's awesome to have the companies and the people behind me to push me to keep doing better.
Dude, yeah. Well, you're doing a fantastic job, man. So keep being hard on yourself internally, because that's going to make you way better, but keep knowing that you got to understand how good of a job you're doing, buddy. So, all right, we're going to get Justin Lambert from Cognito Motorsports on, man. Please tell your family we said hello and keep kicking butt, kid. And will we see you at Laughlin?
I'll be at Laughlin for sure. I would bet at least one of the 2 days. I don't know if I'm going to be behind a steering wheel or behind a GPS or just sit on the sidelines, but I'll be there and shaking hands, meeting people, and watching the races is always fun. But overall, thank you, George. I love this show you have. It's pretty awesome.
Thanks.
To bring this to our sport. It helps grows the sport, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll keep it going, buddy. All right, thanks, dude. We'll see you later.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye. All right, we're going to get Justin Lambert from Cognito on. Man, that is so cool to see how passionate Caden MacCachren is. The accountability thing, man, that's massive in my book. I love seeing people being accountable. Justin Lambert, what's up, buddy?
How we doing?
We're doing pretty good. Did you have a good day at work on Monday?
Yeah, it was a sore day at work, but I did not call in sore.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about that a little bit. So one of the things that I like is that you wore some support mechanisms on your body to help out. Like all of us motocross guys, and we always have that protection. And the course was super, super rough this weekend. What did you think about it overall?
Yeah, it was super challenging. I went to Barstow Tuesday and Wednesday and pre-ran. I did a lap on Tuesday, 2 laps on Wednesday, and I'm like, this is a challenging course, super challenging. This is not going to be a course that the guy who goes all out is going to win in a UTV. My normal co-driver, Jesus, couldn't make it this time. So luckily, Max Eddy, who's from Barstow there, he stepped up and said, hey, if you need any help, let me know. And I said, hey, you want to co-drive? I need a co-driver.
Yeah, that was a situation that you must have been like, yes.
Yeah, I didn't know I didn't know a whole lot about Max, and got to know him a little bit here this last week, and he's a stand-up dude.
Yep.
I've raced against him a little bit. He's driven Scanlon's car, and guy's fast. And I tell you what, yeah, he is solid. And he knows Barstow. He's a great co-driver. We had a good time out there. So he pre-ran with me on Wednesday. Like I said, super rough course. We ran it pretty hard on our last pre-run lap, and we said, hey, that's a pretty good pace for a race day. And it was about an hour and 45-minute loop. And I thought, okay, hour and 45 minutes times 4, that's 7 hours. I said, we'll see how this course holds up and if that's possible. And that course did not disappoint. I mean, it got rougher and rougher and rougher. But yeah, regarding the back support stuff, I got a bad low back and just probably bad habits through, all my years and then racing and whatnot. And so any help I can get, I'll take.
Dude, yeah, 100%. And I actually, I like to seeing that because I think more people should do that. I honestly think that that's a good preventative measure. I'm always about safety, and I'm always about longevity and fitness and stuff like that. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, more power to Justin. I hope that other people take wind of it. All right, so going into the race, I know that you have a new car being built in the background. You decided to bring the tried and true car, the turbo car, to the races. There was some pretty stiff competition, though.
Yeah, there was, and I know I'm never a hitter in qualifying. I'm just I like the longer races. I don't like to go out there and thrash it on a qualifying lap. So we just went out there, held a nice steady pace. We thought it was worth the top 10, and it really wasn't. It was a 12, but we did have some pro R's up in there, and Winquist doing his thing. And so we started 4th in class and 12th overall. But being a long race, we knew it didn't really matter that much. We just kind of wanted to get out in front of the dust as much as we could on lap 1.
Yeah, and with this, actually, Nick Templeton just commented in that you're Mr. Consistency. That's a good way to put it, actually, is during a race like this, the driving style has a lot to do with how you end up at the finish, right? Because you have to understand what's going on with the car. You have to understand what's going on with the humans inside the car, with your tires. There's so many things that go through your brain. And understanding how your driving style is, how does that get executed throughout the race? Are you changing stuff? Are you kind of just keeping it going?
I'm going to say it changes, and I'm going to say that's every race, because you just never know how a race is going to go. You really got to start the race to see what the pace is going to be like. We started next to Caffro, and of course, both of us wanted to get out and put the other one in the dust, and luckily I edged him out off the start. But you just never know what the pace is going to be until you start the race. And we got out on Caffro there, kind of put him in the dust and put a little bit of time on him on lap 1. And then we backed it down. 10% or so for lap 2. And because it was getting rough, we weren't seeing anybody behind us. We started passing a couple cars here and there. So we backed it down, and at the end of lap 2, we pulled in for fuel at main pit there. And as we were sitting there getting fueled up, there came Capro right in the pit. And I was like, where'd he come from? So he obviously had a strategy of his own and probably sat back a little bit in lap 1 and probably picked it up a little bit in lap 2 is what I'm guessing.
Yep.
And we sort of had a little bit of a drag race at the end of the pits there, which was pretty comical. But we beat him back out on the course to start lap 3 to start the second half of the race. And he's a challenger for sure. Obviously, he won the race, and props to him. But going out on lap 3. Again, we put him in our dust and put some time on him, and got to the point where we couldn't see him anymore, couldn't see his dust anymore. Just kind of held that pace. And lap 3 was tough, really rough. we got about a third of the way through that lap and was catching some people in the dust. And
how much was the
got
track
around
deteriorated at that point?
I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. So by this time, I'm going, holy moly, we got this lap to finish and one more. Like, I'm ready to be done. And we got past another guy, and then all of a sudden Capro was in my mirror, and I'm like, whoa, where did he come from? And so he started pouring it on lap 3. And so we ended up getting flat tire right after he got around us. So he got out. He got way out of us there. Came back around, to main pit and got a new tire on the rack and headed back out on lap 4. Just figured, man, if he can run it that hard, and more power to him. But we kind of did our deal and ran hard, and then we ended up actually catching him. And it was one of those sections where you're kind of going up over a crest and around, a fire road, and you kind of see somebody out in the distance. That's kind of like it's like you're a hunter, and
the carrot.
When you're racing and you see that dust, you get awake, the eyes get big, and the heart starts pumping, and you just start chasing.
It's weird how that happens, right?
It is. I mean, I don't know if it's in just a racer's blood or what, but you see it, and then Max goes, man, somebody up there, we're catching them, but they're moving. And I'm like, I don't know. We'll see who it is. And we come around a bend, and we catch a glimpse of the side of Capro's car, and we're like, Max is like, that's Capro. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So we got about 16 miles left to the finish line, and we're catching Capro. We're in his dust. We come to a section where there's like 4 lines. We basically pull up along next to him. He gets us in the corner. We pull up past him. There was another section where there's like 5 lines. We actually pass him in that section, but he had inside corner on the next corner. We dove it in hard, got a flat tire. Yeah, so that was about, 14 miles left to the finish. We had to pull over and change a flat, and he was gone.
Yeah, but dude, you got to also respect the battle. Like, those times don't come. They're few and far between when you can battle that hard.
It was a battle. I mean, that part was cool. That was really cool to kind of battle from start to finish, and you're playing a little game of cat and mouse, and who's going to run hard when, and who's going to back it off when, and it's a mental game as well for sure. But 2 miles after we changed that flat, we lost the rear axle. So there was 12 miles to the finish. That rear axle was dragging in the dirt for 12 miles. We just did what we could to not have to pull over to change it. And so obviously couldn't catch him from there, but we held on to second place from there. But yeah, super challenging race. I'm going to say that was like about 500 and 300 miles.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what you guys were saying. The guys at the California 300 said you guys killed it. It was an awesome battle. Like, whenever I hear that story, like, to be honest with you, man, like, it kind of gives me chills because I love that. Like, coming from moto, even if you get second in a race, but you battle so hard to the finish line, it's a win for everybody because that stuff is really, really meaningful.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just a drive, on a Friday. When you get out there and you got someone to battle with and, you got another competitor who's going to hang it all out there too, I mean, it just makes it for really super challenging. And it's like I say, it's a game of cat and mouse, and whose strategy is going to pay off.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, Nick Templeton just chimed in. He said, worse than Laughlin. Dude, it was a million times worse. Yeah. Laughlin is like a graded freeway compared to this.
Dude, a little different than Laughlin. Laughlin's got a lot of chop. There wasn't a ton of chop here, but there was a lot of rocks, a lot of ruts, just a lot of gotchas. And I mean, it was brutal. I don't think my neck has ever been that sore after a race. I mean, I heard Sim say earlier, like, there was no time to take a drink, and he's right. There wasn't. The only time I was able to take a drink was in pit when we were fueling up and then when we were putting a tire in the rack.
Dude,
other than that, couldn't. Like, there was no smooth spots to where you could grab your line and get it under your helmet and take a drink. And so at the end, I mean, my hands are cramping, my abs are cramping. Like, it was gnarly.
Yeah, and you and Max were both so busy in the cockpit. It's like, how do you do anything like that? Like, yeah, it's like riding a dirt bike track and you can't ever pull a tear off because you're so busy, right? Well, all right, so we only got like a minute or so here left, but what was your favorite part of the track? And then what do you guys usually do, like a debrief that you can do better?
Favorite part of the track was the finish.
The tacos at the finish.
Dude, I mean, I tell you, like halfway through lap 1, I'm going, damn, this is rough. And I'm going, there's 4 laps. We're only an eighth of the way through this race. I'm going, oh, this is going to be a long day.
So gnarly.
But, you know, I think, yeah, you know, on the way home, obviously talk about what broke and why. And, you know, we had an axle shear, and we've never seen an RCV shaft shear like that. And just kind of wondering what happened. But honestly, we're talking about the next race already and what we're going to do better. So the next one's the Baja 1000, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Right on, man. Well, I like that that mindset and the way that you guys think, because you come off the track, you understand what happened during the race, and then you understand what you can do better. That's always the true sign of a winning race mentality, right? So I think you guys did fantastic. I thought it was cool that you got to, you know, work with Max a little bit as well. It's kind of neat that off-road kind of just, you know, can come together like that. So it was pretty rad, man. And then so Baja 1000, what class are you going to race?
Yeah, we're up there like top 3 or 4 in points per score for championship points. So we're sticking in the turbo class. We're going to go try and win this race and win a championship. That'll be a first for us to win a score championship. So that's the goal right now, to win the 1000 and win a score championship.
Dude, that's no small feat, dude. So yeah, I wish you luck. We'll see you at the Baja 1000. Yeah, throw a shout out to all the people that helped you, all your crew, and obviously the people that are on the side of the car too.
As always, we got this badass Cognito Monster Energy Polaris Razor, and I also want to thank FK Rod Ends, ITP Tires, Fox Racing Shocks, Baja Designs. Man, I got great parts, so the rest is up to me, you know, in the driver's seat, and it's just fun to have people like that behind us and just be able to get out there.
All the great companies, but like we just talked with Caden MacCachren, accountability. It's pretty cool that you guys all have that, dude. So keep up the good work, and we'll see you down at the 1000. So thanks, Justin.
Real quick, thanks for man. It's awesome that you appreciate the kids and you had them on first, man. Thumbs up there. Congrats to all those kids that hustled out there. Keep at it. And we'll see you down there in Baja.
Wait, so before you hang up then, does that mean that Justin Lambert might do a little shimmy, like a little dance on the top of his car like the kids?
I'm going to start practicing tonight.
All right. You could call Jackson Mandel and see what he says. He'll give you some tips, all right? Thanks, Justin.
I know the floss. See you.
Later. All right, so we're going to get some more kids coming up here in just a second. We got Bella Burchard and Cruz Burchard, so you guys can jump on anytime. It's so cool to see the off-road community coming together like this. I think it's rad that everybody supports each other, especially like what Justin said with the kids, man. So Bella and Cruz, jump on, and we'll start talking a little bit about your weekend. I know that you guys had a pretty eventful weekend, actually. So I'm stoked to talk with you guys about some what we're going to call real life racing. So Manny, what's up, dude? We are doing good over here. We're not at the races, but we're at the shop. Bella Burchard, what's up?
Hi, how are you?
We're doing awesome. How are you? Your hair looks really nice.
Thank you.
Did you guys just go out to sushi or something? What the heck?
Nah, I've been home healing up, resting. I can't really move much, so.
Yeah, so all right, let's get right into it. You guys went to race the California 300. Your brother and you race in the desert race. You guys do it together. You switch positions in the car, like driver and co-driver. So you guys both support each other. You guys learn a lot when you guys do that. Greg Kelly Racing just said Bella and Cruz. What a wild weekend.
It's great.
Haley Hine also commented Bella. But yeah, so it's interesting to see because it's a good dynamic. It's a really good learning dynamic. It's a really good understanding of what family can do together. And how did it start off? How did the race start off?
It was great, honestly. Preparation going into it was crazy. We had everyone helping, and the start of the actual race, we had a good line, and we were in first. Pretty sure we passed everyone in our class.
Cruz Burchard, what's up, dude? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really good, man. So you haven't seen which side are you on your screen? Because it's like co-driver and driver right here next to each other on Instagram Live. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Bella, but I want to preface this by also saying I appreciate you guys both coming on and talking about your weekend, because we're going to talk about what we would like to consider some serious but motivating things. We're going to talk about safety. We're going to talk about how you guys deal with getting injured and what you guys think about it as racers. And I think that's very important for everybody. So please continue, Bella.
Yeah, we had a pretty good lead. I think we were on time in first physical, and our GPS there were so many issues with it, and it was difficult. And I was relying on Cruz, and Cruz was relying on the GPS, so it's difficult going a race not without those tools ready and hand. I made a mistake on my part, and we ended up going on the course the wrong way and went in a head-on collision with Jason Rivera and Kurt. And thankfully everyone's okay. I mean, with all the safety stuff that we had, it could have been 10 times worse than it was. So I'm just glad that we're all okay and walked away from the race.
Yes. So first things first, very respectful that you were honest with everybody. This is a picture of what the car looked like. So like you said, the safety was a massive thing, right? Like, we're very, very glad that you guys are okay. The injury that you sustained was, I think you got 10 or 12 stitches in your knee. You had a pretty big cut there. I think we'll probably let people go to your Instagram page if they want to see that. But when you go through we're going to call it an accident. When you have an accident like that, what do you do? Like, what did you guys do in the situation? Because this is very important.
Yeah, honestly, the first thing I felt was my knee, and I was worried that, not only was I the only one, or it's different when you're in RS1, you're the only person there, but when you have your life in your hand, your brother's life, so making sure he's okay, and then getting to a safe spot, and realizing that there's trucks on this track too. Like, there was so many stuff going through our mind. First person we wanted to contact was our parents to make sure that we're okay, and especially make sure the people that we ran into, and if they were okay and they needed help, and they were definitely great help for us. So Thank you so much.
That's super cool. And give us like an idea of what you were thinking at the time, Cruz.
Yeah, it was scary, but I was trying to keep calm and just mellow the situation out as much as we could, just to not have everyone freaking out and make everything a lot worse than it was, even though it was still pretty bad. But yeah, probably just staying calm.
Yeah, it's crazy. Real quick, Rowan McGrath just joined. Rowan did very well at the races too. Rowan, you're more than welcome to come on the live feed if you want to talk about it a little bit. If your parents let you, you guys can come on in just a little bit too. Just let us know if you want to join us. But I don't know. Like, I'm having a feeling like in my heart when I hear you guys. Like, the first instant that you guys have an accident like this, you really kind of have to tune your head to be like, okay, I need to take an inventory of what's going on. I need to look at the human beings first, like you said, Bella, like your brother and the other people that are in the other car. But give us a rundown of your thought process and what you do. Do you get out of the car? Do you move to the side? Like, what are the things that you think and you execute on?
So yeah, we got out of the car and we actually tried to drive away, thinking that we were fine and that we could just continue the race. But the car wasn't going to make it. We pulled over in a safe spot as we could, and we immediately got out. I realized I was a bit hurt and I couldn't walk, and Cruz was kind of getting stuff together, contacting as much people as we could. Jason actually walked to us and helped us and towed us back with his damaged car all the way from where we were to main pit. So I thank you so much. Like, we couldn't have done that without you. It was crazy.
That right there is an act of kindness and just an off-road legend right there. Like, a lot of people wouldn't do that. A lot of people would turn their head and be like, you guys mess us up or whatever it is, right? So kudos to them. Maybe after this you could send me a direct message, because I'd like to talk with them as well and tell them that they did such a good job, because that's a really cool thing for them to do. Cruz, when they were doing that, were you pretty happy that they were helping out, or how did you feel?
Yeah, I was actually pretty surprised when they showed up, because I was expecting maybe they just drive off and kind of ignore what happened. But yeah, they were super supportive and kind of showed us like, sorry this happened, and move on from it and just take it as a lesson.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And that's one thing that you guys will probably take with you guys for the rest of your lives, too, is that no matter what, you help before you think about yourself. And I think that that's a really good lesson that they were able to show you guys. Okay, so if you could have changed anything or if you could have done things different, how would you have changed the situation, or would you have dealt with it the same way?
There was nothing that we could have done to prevent the situation. I mean, we could have taken time to like learn a bit more about the GPS and how it actually worked so that we weren't struggling it with it during the race. But, I feel like me and Cruz as kids out there in the middle of the desert handled it pretty well. And especially like them realizing that, we're kids and, we don't have as much experience as adults and we're trying to do this. It's crazy. When you get in a car, you have to realize
That shows a lot of maturity for both of you guys. So, Cruz, when you do get back to the pits, and you first of all you scared the crap out of your mom and dad, but when you get back, what do you tell what do you tell the team? What do you tell your mom and dad, and what do you learn from it when you're having those conversations?
Yeah, I was kind of just giving him the rundown of like how everything happened, how it happened, when it happened, and then we kind of all just sat down and thought about it for a minute and just realized how much worse it really could have been, and thankful that we didn't get more hurt than we were.
Yeah, and it really, like, there's a lot of adrenaline going at the time, and you guys are thinking like you could have thinking fault was on you, or like whatever the emotions that you're going through, right? But when you get a time to take a deep breath and you calm down, and you hear other people's perspective, it usually helps a lot, and it usually puts it in its actual true reality that you guys can understand. So going forward, I feel like it's going to be a good thing to be able to have in the back of your head because you guys understand the experiences.
Yeah, for sure.
It's pretty crazy though. And then so how did the weekend go after that? Were you guys, Bella, you had to go get your knee repaired because you had to get some stitches in it. Did you come support your brother the next day?
Yes, we did. I was limping, trying not to rip open the stitches, but yeah, I made sure I was able to support him in whatever he was doing the next day.
Well, you're already a strong human being in general, so that's rad that you went out there and showed him that that you were supporting him. So, Cruiser, how did it go the next day then? How'd the day start off?
Yeah, it started really good. We made like 2 or 3 passes within the first lap.
Oh wait, what class were you racing that day? Because it was the youth RS1, I think you were driving.
Yeah, so we were running good past like 2 or 3 cars, and then we got a flat on lap 2, I believe, and on the 8-mile course, the short course, and then I think later before lap 3 started, it was like a couple corners before it. There's like a long straightaway, and I made a pretty big mistake and rolled the car a little bit, pretty bad. Yep, there it is.
Man, yeah, it was pretty gnarly. Like the car looks like it's pretty toast. But
yeah,
keep going, and then I'm going to ask you a question.
But so the paramedics and everybody was there super fast. I want to give a thank you to Brian and Lance for being there super quickly, and Paul Patel for being there too and helping me out in that.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're saying that. Desert Squadron John, he offers trauma kits and things like that. So he said that he's got an idea to talk with Matt Martelli about maybe after the show or something. But I do think it's cool that you guys are allowing yourselves to be open and honest with the situations, because a lot of people would hide it. And I feel like you're helping a lot of people that are going to be watching and listening to the show by explaining your story. So first and foremost, I think you're badass racers, but thank you very much for being good humans in general, because this is a really, really important thing that you guys are doing here, because you're not just helping yourselves, you're helping everybody else. So I really appreciate you guys doing that. All right, Cruz. So, man, you got to just take a deep breath and just be like, dude, we had a bad weekend. So what do you think after when you're driving home back to Southern California, leaving the races? Like, are you sad? Are you happy? Are you accountable? Are you going forward to the next race? Like, what's the thoughts?
We kind of just put our heads down and try to forget about what happened, and kind of move on from what happened that whole weekend. Then we made a pit stop at Chick-fil-A, make things better.
Yeah, there we go.
And then we just got home and tried to brush it off.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Especially being so young, you kind of just have to move on and like look forward to the next thing, right? Bella, what did you think like when you were coming home? Like, what are the emotions that you're going through driving? Because I know you're a little bit more emotional than Cruiser is.
No, it was a bit upsetting, especially as desert being like, your dream. And you go and, you're in first and you're running good and this is your race. And then something like this happens and it really like takes a toll on you. Realize like, it's a dangerous sport and it like without sponsors that support us and without these well thought out tracks, it could have been worse. So I'm glad that we're okay. We're going to fix the cars and we're going to back at it for sure.
Machinery is always repairable, right? But I like what you're saying is you're seeing the whole picture. You're seeing how much people put into it, like a race director or a race event promoter like Matt Martelli, to be able to make it safe for you guys, to be able to have extraction points and all of these different things, and medical crew and safety and all this stuff. So that means a lot, because that means you're looking at the whole picture. So I appreciate that. The Bearded Bomber said definitely could have been way worse. A collision, we got a little bit sore. I don't know if that's the guys that you guys were with. And then Ailes Photography, I don't know, says these guys were 700 or 100% composed after the crash. I came on them just after it happened. The other racers were really awesome despite the situation too. It really shows how tight the community is. And that's exactly what we're talking about. I've been through a lot of shit too. And for me to be able to see that you guys were so respectful and so understanding of the situation, it really hits me in the heart, because I really appreciate what you guys do.
Well, yeah, it's reality. I mean, racing's not perfect, and it's not this how it would be without the amount of help that everyone gives us. It's crazy.
Yeah, everybody that's out there, right?
Yes, definitely.
All right, so what's your guys' plans for the future? Actually, we got looks like we got Matt Martelli on. What's up, Matt? How are you?
Good. How you doing, guys?
Good. We're pretty good.
Good. Hey, first off, I'm really glad that you guys are okay. And I too want to give you guys props for the way that you handled it. It's really important to us that everybody's safe, but we want young people like you racing with us, right? It's what's building the future of this sport and culture.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Matt. And the way that they offered up to share their story and to be out in front of this and to be able to help others is fantastic. Like, you couldn't ask anything more from youth racers.
No, it's awesome. You guys did a great job, and I can tell you dozens of stories of adults crashing vehicles and handling it improperly. So, props to you guys. This is going to make you better racers. It's going to make you better people. And that's what this is about, right? Like, a lot of people don't understand why we love off-road racing so much, and it's because you go through a challenge, and you come out the other end transformed every time you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't say that any better. All right, guys. So we're going to talk with Matt a little bit about how he saw the race and what happened. But please, Bella, you go first, and then Cruz can go second. Tell us who you're thankful for of the weekend, with your sponsors and also the people that were around you.
I would have to say West Coast Motorsports, Carmen Fabrication, Evo Power Sports, Point Power Sports, GP Tires, Magic, Switch Pros, Motul, KMC Wheels, Polaris, Sparko, Rugged Radios, RVC, Boxo, Sway Energy, and Lance and Richard, Dylan Shook, my parents, my mom, my dad, especially them, Shelby Anderson, my brother as my co-driver, the Martelli brothers, thank you for putting on this insane, crazy event, and George, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. All right, Cruiser, you go, and then we're going to talk to Matt.
So definitely be Brian and Lance and my dad for building a super safe car and being able to keep us safe in this. And the whole pit crew for being there for things that we needed. And when we were thirsty, they had water, food, snacks, the tires when we needed it.
Hey, dude, the snack guy is the most important guy, man.
Definitely is.
Well, you guys did a great job. I think your parents did a great job understanding or giving you guys the understanding of what to do during those situations as well. So, all right, we're going to talk with Matt a little bit here, and thank you guys very much for coming on the show. We'll see you guys at the next race.
Yeah,
Thank you, George.
Bye, guys. Man,
Bye.
Matt, it's so cool to see the youth being so mature, dude.
I mean, how rad is that, right? Like, it makes me super excited for our future. You know, I don't know what it was now, like 6 years ago when we started youth racing at the UTV World Championship. You know, we had no idea that it would get to what this is now, and you know, it's going to go further. But we've never had this in our sport. You know, it's just awesome.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. All right, so let's change subjects a little bit here and talk about. Give us a very, very Cliff's Notes brief on why you came up with the California 300 that used to be called the UTV World Championship, and then we'll move forward into how the race went.
Well, it was a culmination of a couple things. One was I have to give a lot of credit to Killian. He was bugging me about looking at Laughlin, and you know, we all know how gnarly Laughlin. I'm sorry, look at Barstow. We all know how gnarly Barstow can be. They call it Narstow for a reason, right? Yep. And you know, we looked at it and we realized that, you know, the old Fireworks 250 course was still, you know, doable, you know, and I would have thought that we would have only been able to put together a 20-mile loop there, and I wasn't interested in that. You know, I want to put on longer desert races that you know, are challenging, but it's stuff that we would want to race, right? So we looked at it, and you know, we were pretty impressed with, you know, what was there, the variety of terrain, and the type of terrain. It you know, wasn't flat road, you know, wasn't graded, you know, stuff. It was, you know, rocky, rough, you know, sandy washes, rally roads, you know, lots of elevation changes, and it reminded me of little pieces of Baja, right?
Yeah, totally. Well, we just had Justin Lambert on. I don't know if you were watching at the same time, but he goes, dude, it was just as rougher than the Baja 500.
Yeah. I mean, it was obviously condensed, but it was funny because a lot of people were kind of put back by the, you know, the technicality of the terrain, and, you know, mainly the truck guys. And so my question to them was like, hey, is this gnarlier than Simpsons or the Summit or the back of Mike's? And all of them were like, well, no. And I'm like, well, okay, that's off-road racing then, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so you know, we wanted to put together a more challenging course, because I think that in many ways that the current state of off-road racing has lost a little bit of that. And it's you know, there's a lot of courses that I think are too easy, you know, and especially for UTVs and, you know, trophy trucks and some of the other capable vehicles. It's like we want to see those things pushed to their limit. You know, we want to see them challenged, and we want to see them perform, right? And so
hearing you talk on that subject kind of makes me think about some of the conversations that we've had during the show today, and being you know, clearly the track was gnarly, Narstow, right? But to contradict that, guys said they were going 80, 90 miles an hour.
Yeah. I mean, we here's the irony of it is, you know, part of why we want to do the pre-run is we want feedback, right? I want people to tell me, hey, you're crazy for doing this, or, you know, it's too easy, or whatever it is. We want feedback, right? And so after pre-running, you know, to be honest, there are people who left.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of shocked me because that is the opposite of what this culture is about. This culture is about, you know what? It's gnarly, good, right? It's going to be hard because if you get to that finish line, you've earned something, right? That's off-road racing.
So it's not the same. It's not the same track conditions, but I have the same context, right? So in short course racing, the track's graded. I mean, it's just nice and smooth, right? But I always used to tell everybody, because like at Lake Elsinore one time, I heard from probably 10 or so racers on the gate, dude, it's too rough. They got to get out there and grade it with the tractor. And I thought to myself, like, dude, the gnarlier, the better. Like, give me
Yes.
more. Like, let the track not be graded during the day and give me the gnarliest possible track you could on the main event. And I will be more appreciative of that because that shows a skill set. It shows what your car can do. It shows prep. It shows all of these different things. And that's kind of what you brought to the table.
Yeah, and there's also a reality to it of like a lot of it is mental, right?
Right.
And you see something and you're not used to it and whatever, and you have to push, you have to throw yourself into the fray. And here's my point, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this to the guys who left, right? There's a 14-year-old girl who's raced one other desert race, Rowan McGrath, and she finished the race,
Yep.
right? And her car isn't, the super gnarly car, it's a well-built car, but like, did she go and set trophy truck times? No, but she did it and she finished.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think a lot of it is comfort zone and it's mental. And I think that most of the current races in off-road are too easy.
Well, let's keep, real quick here. Field Motorsports said the course was epic, and not to change subjects, but Beach Girl at Heart said, "Thank you very much, George, for what we do for the kids and letting them understand how to be better human beings." I think it's a fantastic way to look at it because everything that we're talking about has an underlying human component, right? The stuff that Matt's talking about, the people that do want to race, the people that don't want to race. Everybody has their own choices and opinions, and I think that's a very, very good thing for anybody in off-road. But make sure you do exactly what Matt said. Speak up. Let people know.
Yeah.
Let us understand what you want, what you don't want, how to be a better person. Whatever it is that you think, please tell somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what makes this particular form of motorsport so special is that, you go in on the front end and you come out on the back end transformed.
Yep.
Because you've just put yourself, your family, your crew through something that is the closest thing to a war simulation that civilians can get.
Dude, that's gnarly that you say that, but that's true. The shock therapy guy says, yeah, bring on all the hard courses.
Well, and that turns on part of our brain and our bodies that, isn't being turned on in front of a computer.
Yep.
Right? It's like you start understanding that our genetics are on a 2,000-year lag. And what were our ancestors doing 2,000 years ago? They weren't sitting in a chair in a desk, right?
Yeah, they were being gnarly fighting for food.
Right. So we're going to do that in obviously a reasonable way. And, to be clear, our goal isn't to make courses that are so crazy that nobody can finish. We want to make it hard enough to where, you get to that fourth lap and you're like, okay, I do not want to go another lap.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I think Dave Cole does a pretty good job of making courses that people can't finish because Hammers is so gnarly.
100%. I give all props to Dave and Hammers. I mean, I remember, him showing us what he was doing in the beginning, and I couldn't wrap my head around it. I was like, you're going to drive guys up a mountain? It's not going to work, dude. And clearly I was wrong,
Dude,
so,
but he's a badass for putting it all together. All right, so let's talk about a couple different things here that I wanted to ask. First, what was your favorite part of the weekend? Or the week, excuse me.
There's not one thing. There's a lot of things, and it's funny because like, me and my whole team, my brother, we're on like war mode. We're like operating. It's super intense. We're barely sleeping. We're doing things physically that we don't do all year. I mean, I can't tell you right now how broken and sore I am from pounding steaks and pulling steaks out. And
yeah, for 4 to 6 weeks before the event, I can only imagine.
Yeah, and like, and calves exploded, and everything's going to go wrong, and you just got to push through it. But we have an amazing crew, a lot of volunteers who are amazing, and staff, and then a lot of people that help us. So, man, there's a lot of things. Okay, so
Justin Lambert just said Matt Nartelli, dude, for sure.
Well, like, and having relationships, like, look, Cognito, Justin has had a lot of challenges lately, and to see him come out and, perform at the level we know that he can perform, that was special.
Yep. 100%.
I love I love high-fiving people, handing them a beer and a taco at the finish line and be like,
That was pretty epic,
okay,
dude.
you earned that, right? It tastes good, it feels good, and when you go back in the regular world and somebody goes, well, what'd you do this weekend? You just laugh. You're like,
Yeah.
I can tell you, but you're not going to get it, right?
Dude, that's exactly not to get off subject, but that's exactly the problem I had in high school. I was a professional dirt bike racer, and people look at me like I was an idiot because they're like, what does this dude do? Like, I have zero idea of what it's all about. He doesn't throw a football? I don't know.
Yeah, you do the ball that takes, or you do the sport that takes two balls, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But no, there's lots of special moments, and they're funny. It's like, everything from having Cade Mack, race his very first, trophy truck race with us, or unlimited truck, whatever you want to call it. That was special,
Dude, it was
That
awesome.
was, I go back with his dad a long time, and his dad is the GOAT. His dad is our Michael Jordan, and I'm really, really impressed with how quickly Caden has matured.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy to think like 4 years ago that this kid had zero racing experience, and I would have said, hey, it's going to take 10 years for him to get up to speed, and he's up to speed, man.
Yeah.
You
It's wild, right?
Had he had correct information on where the Grabowskis were, he may have won the race. Who knows?
Dude, still a
but,
fantastic performance no matter how you look at it.
Amazing. Yeah. And then, other stuff. There's all sorts of funny little things that happen. The kids, seeing the kids come up and get their finisher medals and, spray the the sparkling apple cider, right? And then there's one kid who goes, hey, can I get a finisher beer if my dad comes over and gets it? And I'm like, sure. You know what I mean? So lots of stuff. And then, other things that are kind of like funny that some people notice and don't notice. But we had a friend of mine, Jesse Hughes. He's the lead singer of Eagles Death Metal. And, I kind of casually said, oh, we don't have a grand marshal. And he goes, I'll be the grand marshal. So he waved the green flag, for the unlimited trucks, and then put it all over his social media to try and bring attention to, to what we're doing. So, and then other funny stuff like, pulling all the fencing yesterday with my whole crew and getting to that last post, and you pulled it out and you're like, that actually really wasn't that bad.
Right.
Right.
But it's also a meaningful situation, right? Because you're like, wow, look at what we just did.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's important for people to understand that we just brought, there's a lot of good operators in the area of Barstow. There's, more, namely, Cody does a great job. He's been hustling his ass off and putting on great races, but, we're here to do major events, and Barstow is part of the history of off-road racing. It's where I went as a kid to, see major desert races with the Fireworks 250. And, it's important that we have a major race, besides King of the Hammers, in Southern California. This is where the culture is. It's where it started.
It's funny that you say that because my off-road maturity doesn't go back as far as yours. And I actually had a conversation with Rob Mack when he was sitting in Caden Mack's truck before qualifying. And he goes, it's pretty nostalgic, man. He's like, it's pretty cool to be back out here. He's like, I don't know how the track's going to be, but it's still cool.
Well, and when you rolled around, like one thing that was rad, because I we didn't have a live stream, but we were hammering out all the social media content and updates that we could. But I wasn't, both you and I weren't trapped in a booth, right? So I was able to like drive around and look at everything. And there was, thousands and thousands of people out in the desert with their trucks backed up to the course, hanging out, having a beer like the old times, right?
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see that, man. The vibe was super high. And thank you very much for letting me be a small part of the operation too.
No, it was rad. I mean, it's that's what I grew up in, right? And that's what I think is, it's important to have that be a thing that continues on with our culture. It's like America's a free country, right? And we operate on BLM land, which is our land. It's your land, right? And we should be able to get in a vehicle and go roam it and pick out the spot we want to watch the race in, as long as we're 150 feet back and we're being safe. And I think for the most part, people respected that. We had a few little, kind of knucklehead things that happen, as always, where people are like, "Oh, there's a race going on." I'm like, "Yeah, do you see all the people and everything going on?" But it'll get bigger and bigger and more notoriety, and people will know what's going on. So we're really excited to have, pulled off the first one, and had the success that we had with the entries and with all the spectators.
Do you guys
And
have we ask the racers these kind of same questions. Do you guys have a like a debrief afterwards? Do you say we could do this better and we're going to change this for the next time that the event happens?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, pretty detailed, and it's broken down from each division, from tech and contingency to the course to safety to we even include the debrief with the police, the BLM, who are great partners of ours, and everybody. So it's compartmentalized and then kind of looked over as a whole event as well.
That's pretty cool, man. So I got to tell you a couple things that happened behind the sidelines. Our good friend Alex Streiler brought some high-level people, officers, and people that work at NTC Fort Irwin. They got to check things out. I don't know if you got to see them, but phenomenal seeing the smile and what they were looking at on their faces. They were talking about doing some stuff that potentially brings out some of the Army soldiers, veterans, their family, all of these great people that have never experienced off-road out to the event because it is in Southern California. So that's a massive win for you guys. We also saw Rob from Liquimolly. He brought out some of his co-workers that were from Germany to come check it out. They have never seen, I mean, just the terrain itself, they were blown away. And then second to that, they got to see the Honda guys pit, all of the drama unfold, the races. It was mind-blowing to them. So all of these things that happen behind the scenes is phenomenal to be able to see, and I'm sure you experienced a lot of that as well.
Well, to your point, I mean, that's what's so important about having it in California is the accessibility. We love racing in Nevada. We're almost done with a race in Arizona that we're going to announce here shortly. But California is where it started, and it's important that we have something in our backyard. It would be like, being in Indianapolis and not having the Indy 500 there. That's our goal, for this event. I think that, year one, we established that, and, that's all we're interested in doing is big events that are accessible to spectators, accessible to, as far as media goes. But, I know like this is I feel like a drug dealer. I know that if I can get you to come to the race and back your pickup truck up and watch the race, you're going to be like, well, this is the coolest thing on the planet.
Yeah, exactly. I always tell people the same thing. Before I finish my comment, Shock Therapy guys said thank you very much for also cleaning up the desert and keeping it clean. So that's something that you'd leave it better than when you showed up. So I appreciate that. The Jessica Motorsports guys said Cal 300 is the most fun you can legally have in California. Awesome job. Course was definitely gnarly.
Right. That's I got to give a lot of credit for the desert cleanup to Clean Desert with Adam Fibbin. He ran that whole thing for us. We just, added some horsepower to it. But it was amazing. We had a few hundred people show up the weekend before and help us pull 10 tons of trash out of that area. So it's really important to us that we show the world that we're responsible land users and that, I'm an off-roader. I don't want to see trash. I drive around, and the whole point of getting off the pavement is getting away from that stuff,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how pissed are you when you pull over the side of the freeway and you go to take a leak and you just see a freaking mountain of trash, dude? It's so sucky. Well, a couple things that I want to say, and we'll kind of wind this thing down, is first and foremost, thank you very much for putting on the event, whether it was called the UTV World Championship, the California 300, the Mint 400, any of these names or big events. I appreciate that because, again, I appreciate being a small part of it, but the growth and the expansion of off-road is what we all care about, right? It's our love, it's our passion. So that in itself is a massive win to me that we're offering this up and we're getting more people involved and we're showing the Germans and all of these different people that you can actually come out and do this stuff. So kudos to you for doing that and putting in all the hard work. You probably can't walk very good today, but thank you very much for sacrificing for us.
No, it's all good. I love this, and I'm really proud of what we, me and my brother and my cousin and our entire team, have done. And I can tell you, like, this is just the beginning of it. Where we have a very clear path on what the value is, but also what we're how we're going to grow this.
Yep.
And how we're going to bring it to major markets. And that, look, the UTV World Championship is always going to be a part of the California 300. It's our biggest class. We have a lot of love for the UTV racers and the evolution. It was really cool to see that this was the first race that the Polaris Pro Rs won.
Yeah. It was pretty cool to see that. Oh, and I got a bunch of hatred already for saying that the land rush start was my favorite part, but I'm still going to stick with that, okay?
It's all good. We knew the conditions of the track, and we wanted to spread people out so that they had somewhat of an opportunity to race, right? And that was the other thing that we were really excited about this course was that, it's a tough course, but there's a lot of passing. And, that I would say comparing it to the Mint course, like that's the biggest flaw of the Mint course is that because we've raced the same course so much, there's, TV size boulders hidden behind every bush. And so stepping out is super risky at the Mint. In Barstow, we allowed, a lot of opportunities for people to pass, and that's racing.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Let me see if, actually I was looking for the Grabowski brothers just commented in. Before I read their comment, why don't you guys jump in? I don't know who's managing the Instagram, but you guys can jump in real quick. And we got about 5 minutes or so. We can just congratulate the guys. But he said, thank you very much for a great race, Matt. Hey, is he supposed to say that? He won. He's going to be happy no matter what, right?
Well, I mean, let's give these guys props, right? Like,
absolutely.
They moved up the ladder system. Their families, their dad's been racing. Uncles, etc. And they got the trophy truck spec, and they've done well. They won their class in King and Hammers, but like to come out on this course and beat all the unlimited cars, and to really, even though it's Caden's first race, to beat him, I mean, people out there that don't understand, I mean, it's they don't have the same horsepower. It's not the same. It's not the same vehicle. They're similar, but it's different. And especially, Troy, that was his first drive in that truck. His brother Dusty's he's a savage. You give that guy a friggin' rental car and he's gonna go, but so again, that was really cool too. Like, one of the things I really love about doing this is, like, when guys don't race or what have you, and you just don't know who's going to win. As a promoter, I look at this and they're like, well, yeah, who do you think's going to win? I can go back to every race that we've done, and I'm like, well, okay, probably the only ones that I'm like, oh, well, yeah, it's Rob Mack, right? But other than that, every race that we've promoted, I'm like, I didn't pick Justin Lofton, or I didn't pick,
it's a crapshoot.
Luke McMillan, or I didn't. Yeah. And so that was, I think, to me personally, that was what was cool about this, is seeing that all unfold and going like, oh, a spec truck just beat all the unlimited trucks. And they deserved it. They
Yeah.
drove their asses
It's
off.
pretty wild, dude. Yeah, congratulations to them. I saw you on the podium with those guys. Jim Beaver obviously talked to them as well. David Nebris from Race Safely also just said, or Motorsport Safety Solutions said, as a spectator, he loves the land rush. As a safety guy, it's allowed me one less anxiety attack with the time start. So good. Let's see. Oh, whoever's operating the Grabowski brothers racing is not a Grabowski brother. But anyways, yeah, so it's cool to see. And from a safety standpoint, we also want to thank David and his whole team at Motorsport Safety Solutions because they kept everybody safe out there. So it was just really cool to see the event unfold. And, man, I mean, if you got anything else to say, otherwise we can just wind this down because, dude, it was a good time.
Listen, I want to thank all the racers, all the volunteers, all the staff, all the sponsors, because we're in wild times right now. And, the fact that we're able to pull off races is a freaking miracle, and gas prices and, economic troubles and all this kind of stuff. But it just shows you how strong the culture is,
Yep.
right? And I could tell you that this race will be bigger than the men in a couple of years. It's the right terrain. It's the right location. It has that history and that legacy. And, the city of Barstow and everybody there, all the businesses.
It
think
has
about the
tacos.
fact that, I literally talked to CJ from Del Taco. And I'm like, here's what we want to do. And he's like, he was texting me going well, I want to keep them warm. So tell me when they're getting close.
Yes.
Right. And so I'm stressing out. I'm like, they're coming in, dude. They're coming in. Bring the tacos. Right. And it worked out. And then, big props to Del Taco, Belching Beaver beer. They made all the beer, all the brands that support us. You can go down the list. It's all on the website.
Yep.
It just, we couldn't do it without them. And for them to believe in something that's never been done for the last time there was a major race there was 23 years ago with the Fireworks 250.
Oh, it was that long ago? Holy crap.
Yeah. So for the brands to believe in us, and the vendors too, that was the other thing is they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, we're going to scrape a piece of dirt. I guarantee you there's going to be people there. And they all stepped up and believed in us. So I appreciate that. And there's more to come. Just it's going to get bigger.
Yeah, well, keep up the good work, dude. I know that's no small feat. It takes an army to do all this stuff, so we appreciate everything that you do for the off-road community. And, man, it was just a good week overall, so thank you very much. We're going to end the show real quick here. So, yeah, man, I'll see you soon. Let's go grab some more tacos.
Let's do it. I appreciate it. Thanks, George.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Really appreciate it. All right, guys. So as Matt leaves us here, we're going to wind down the show. I want to thank all of our sponsors for being a part of the show. You guys can always catch us live every Monday night, 5 p.m., and sometimes we even do sideshows, too, on Instagram. But, thank you. Please, again, share the show. Do everything you can to help us build this because we're building the community of off-road racing, and we're trying to share as many stories as possible. Thank you to the guys at KMC Wheels. Thank you to Maxxis Tires. Thank you to Motul, Shock Therapy. Use the code DIRTLIFE. Get yourself some Shock Therapy products. Thank you to JL Audio, Evolution Power Sports, Zolander Racing Products, Vision Canopies, and Cryo Heat. And thank you very much to all of our guests. It was awesome hearing everybody's stories. These people around us are doing such great things, helping each other, just being good racers and good people in general. We love that about the human race and off-road. So we'll see you guys next week. All right.
Thanks for listening to the Dirt Life Show. See you next week.